All right, Mr. Leroux, let's get to it here. And I think what is like the one thing that you're going to be watching the most in the first couple minutes of the game?
You mean once I get my camera plugged in and all that? Um,
I could give my answer first. Um, it's going to be how the Celtics defend Tyrese Halliburton and whether they're going to switch Al Horford onto him or not. And if they do, what happens?
I think that's a great one. And the how the Celtics handle Indiana's transition pressure overall is gonna be a big one. But yeah, I think that's a very interesting question. And I brought this up for Downtown Prime. We previewed both series on Monday night. I would say this is more true of Minnesota Dallas, but what start as the no-go matchups? Like what are each of these teams saying, okay, this is not something I want to see. And then
Yeah,
which ones are not. And so like with Halliburton, could see a lot of different variations there, both on offense and on defense. Aaron Neesmith playing against his former team, somebody who, theoretically could be up in the Celtics now, but obviously it's a different circumstance.
Yeah, and these teams have had some playoff matchups in the past. The Celtics took care of them back in 2019, even when, but that was with Victor Oladipo out. Bojan Bogdanovic was actually the best offensive player at that point for the Pacers, and they'll start it off. So it's Jaylen Brown guarding Siakam, and they have Horford guarding Miles Turner. Back screen for Siakam. The Celtics will switch that off the ball, and Tatum just takes it away from his former teammate Neesmith. Brown is going to open the scoring in the series with a dunk. Pacers run into each other trying to get the quick inbound. Turner going to change sides of the floor. Siakam, they don't switch Horford onto him, interestingly, and Horford gets the block. That is a good block. No,
No,
they
they
are
called
going
a
to call
goaltend.
it goaltend. None of the Celtics realized that maybe it was so loud. Horford can't believe it. It looked good to me live, but of course we're quite far away.
We really are.
Oh, they're going to challenge it. Yep,
It's
good
clean.
block. I mean, unless it's on its way down going to the backboard, which is extremely rare. So and the Celtics did have a clear recovery here, I would say. So
Yes.
they should get the ball. Yeah, it's a great block. Terrible call. I mean, I didn't see that look like it was even close to a goaltend, particularly because he's trying to put it off the backboard, right? Like, how do you call that when it's not even close to the backboard?
Well, we have a Guthrie Brothers Ford crew, so
I like Guthrie.
I think Guthrie's fine. I am not a fan of the other two.
That's right. Yeah, I
And
mean, it clearly does not hit the board first. So yeah. Oh, guess who called that? Well, and you know what? Like it's Tyler Ford's call to make. The fact that everyone on board was sprinting back, I don't even think Siakam thought it was a goaltend. And the shooter always thinks it's a goaltend. He'll wave his hand around just to relieve his own embarrassment of getting his shot blocked.
yep, that's what we expected.
Yeah, and yes, it is. If you could just wipe 2 points off the board for sure at any point in the game, yes, definitely. Particularly when, in my view, it's a clear recovery. I think they did say that, right?
They
That
did.
Boston ball.
Imminent
Yeah.
recovery, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, because if Indiana gets the ball back, then you're saving yourself on average about 1 point. This is straight up 2 points.
Yeah.
Referee ranking, don't follow it closely enough. I would say I think there are maybe 10 referees that I've noticed there are certain patterns to their calls but that's not nearly enough to do it properly, I would say.
Also, even though you and I largely fly under their radar, I'm not sure there's a single thing we could do that would make it more likely for the league office to become interested in our content than doing something like referee rankings. Based on what I know from my friends who have more engagement with the league office.
Have teams gone away from switching too much since apparent correction for last season? I mean, I think the defense has been pretty good in these playoffs. And who are the teams that have the ability to switch a lot? I did think that maybe OKC should have explored it a little bit more in that series with Chet onto Luka. I mean, Boston still does as much as they've always have, although they're not doing it to start off in this game. I'm interested to see how long that lasts. And I think there's a concern about being able to rebound. Offensive rebounding is up, but there just aren't that many elite switching teams other than Boston. Like, who is really the good switching team anymore?
Andrew asks if there's any chance of Brissett playing in small uniforms for Boston, another potential revenge series. Any chance rule? Yes. High chance? No. I think that the Brissett could be interesting. But they have enough, even without Porzingis, I think they have enough players that he's more of a break glass in case of injury rather than like real try.
So our first half-court defensive possession for the Pacers now, and it's Halliburton on Holiday, not on White. And they're going to go at Halliburton immediately here, and they just switch this. That's very interesting. Where's the help going to come from? It's Nembhard at the elbow. Tatum just trying to work in, goes to the step back, and he missed it. Halliburton held up okay, but Horford tips it out to Holiday, and that's an absolute killer for Indiana. Here they push it right back. Halliburton with his first attack gets Brown on him. Nembhard not really an advantage matchup against White. I don't know what he's doing here. What he's doing is desperately throwing it out to the perimeter. And now Nesmith has 2 turnovers already. They're going to get another dunk here, or call it a layup.
Are we done here? No, we're not.
Nembhard off the screen from Turner. Drop coverage by Horford. Turner steps around him but can't finish it. That was a good look. Just didn't go down. Here's White. He goes in and scores easily. So it's been Boston's transition. They have not actually scored on a first shot in the half court yet. 3 transition layups and a 3 off an offensive rebound. Now Siakam against Tatum. Interesting matchup here. Boston going to just let him shoot. Not close. Never hit the rim, so no fresh clock. Siakam tries again. Goes over that same right shoulder, and that one wasn't particularly close either.
And Boston's going to live with that. If that's the kind of half-court shot that the Pacers are generating, they're going to need to get so many of their possessions in transition. Nice pass.
On kicks it out. Holiday trying to make it 2 for 2, but cannot. They still haven't scored in the half court. Now Nesmith, and he blows the layup. A little tougher one, but one he surely should have finished. Now White wants to go pick and roll here with Halliburton on him. Turner is up to touch. Horford's pick and pop is good. There's some half-court offensive execution, and it's 12-0. That pick and pop is very difficult to deal with because there's no one to rotate over, even if you wanted to. And I think they got to live with that shot probably, but Horford made it.
And I mean, we did see some of Indiana running off of makes, which is something they're going to have to do in this series, but they're going to have to force fewer makes in order to make that really competitive. And
so one other thing I want to note there too is Halliburton just took forever to get over the screen. And that's why Horford is so wide open, because Turner just had to stay with White for so long. And he's there for like 2 seconds before Halliburton re-engages. And White did a great job of throwing the pass right as that was occurring to get Horford wide open.
Can Indy switch Halliburton onto Horford there? They can consider it. I think Horford, like the attacks that he would do in that time would be slow enough developing that the help could come. I think teams should be more open to that sort of a switch than they are.
I think the bigger thing they're concerned about actually is Turner on White. in that
Could be.
then White moves the ball, and then they have no rim protection. Also, this is what I think, both coaches are looking at as a long series. Generally, the default will be we start with just kind of the basic thing, and we have other stuff that's ready, but we're gonna force you to prove that you're gonna make us defend outside of our base defense. I mean, let's not go crazy here
No.
about this. Like, the Pacers have had 3 layups that they just miss, right? So, I think this could. I don't think that like their offense is looking terrible right now or anything like that.
No, it's a make or miss league type of thing, right? As of this moment.
And also, they've just gotten smoked in transition too. We'll see. And the probably the most interesting thing to me that's happened of anything is Horford conventional pick and roll coverage, and then they're switching Halliburton onto Tatum.
Mm-hmm. And I think if I want to see if Boston will go to that with any frequency, because if you think that's a matchup that can happen, I mean, why not?
Well, I think the feeling is that they want to make Tatum prove that he can beat that kind of gets him and Boston into their worst tendencies of holding the ball, going slow, taking contested mid-rangers. And Tatum, if you can keep him from getting to the foul line, generally he's not going to be ultra efficient. I think that they believe they can outscore. If they avoid fouling, I think they believe they can outscore Jason Tatum mid-rangers. I don't know if they're right about that, but I certainly would be testing it. I kind of like that that's where they began. Whereas at no point were they willing to switch Halliburton onto Brunson. Brunson they knew was just going to completely destroy him. And so I think to me, not just saying, oh, Jason Tatum, he's a superstar, like we can't put Halliburton on him. I wouldn't want to just accede to that.
And then what did we both predict on the pod? Nate and I actually each picked Celtics in 6. At the time, both of us thought that would be an outlier positive for the Pacers projection, but it appears that it was closer to the norm than we thought.
Nembhard rejects the screen, and he sets up Nesmith wide open, but Nesmith has really struggled. 2 turnovers and a missed wide open one, and then Nesmith did show great hustle getting back to disrupt that blown fast break.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown, it seemed like he could have just dunked that.
Here's Nembhard on the quick attack. Tatum running him down from behind. It's such a difference for Nembhard compared to the Knicks series where he had an advantage matchup at all times. Great pressure again. This has been really good pressure defensively. Siakam not really an advantage matchup on Holiday, but he does shoot over him off the glass. He's gotten right shoulder every time. And now, how many times are they going to just give up a layup off a one pass down the right sideline? They've done that 5 times already. Duncan, Siakam turns, easy bucket on Tatum. That's not good enough from Tatum. Here they go again. Same thing down the right side. They're going to get another wide open shot, and it just misses. Now Halliburton gets good separation on White. That sets up Nembhard's 3.
And this is looking more like we talked about the Pacers missed some shots early. Like they're going to be successful offensively at points in this series.
And I like Halliburton just going at White one-on-one in transition. Now it's Braun. Turner's stuck with him. They get to the late switch. Braun waves everyone away. You see Nesmith still lurking at the elbows. They throw it to Horford. He'll fire another 3. And I love that they've had Al Horford take 3 threes already. That's a great defensive approach to me for an Indiana team that's very limited. We'll talk more about that. And now Halliburton steps back. Very aggressive. Turner on the tip out, but it's right to Braun. And Halliburton is able to barely disrupt that. That's not Halliburton's responsibility as the shooter, though. Someone else is supposed to get back there. He made a great play to make up for his teammate's mistake.
Yeah, great hustle there. That stopped. Well, we'd say 2 points, but Boston's missed some transition shots already. An early Obi Toppin.
Yeah, maybe about a minute earlier than he's been coming in. They'll usually take Siakam out quickly. This is a lot of I mean, I think maybe Rick Carlisle is just not pleased with the overall effort as part of why they're going in this early with these guys. Oh, nice out of bounds play there, and they score immediately. That was a beautiful screen the screener play, got inside position, and then rolled right to the basket. Halliburton, wide open, drains it as Horford was in the drop coverage. That was an interesting officiating moment there because White's trying to go under the screen, and Horford, or I'm sorry, Turner is rolling to the basket. He kind of rolled right into him. That's supposed to be an offensive foul. Brown, double teamed. White is wide open. Yes.
And Obi Toppin was one step too close to the basket there. Concede Derek White didn't feel him on that three.
Yeah, that's the one guy to me that you just cannot leave open. He's made himself into their best shooter. Maybe Hauser would be the other option in terms of wide open, but White is going to get these up.
I think
Holiday
this is
on McConnell. McConnell on the baseline, and he does finish. Holiday forced in baseline, expecting help that was not there. Horford cut off, no foul. Going to just back in, going left shoulder as expected.
I think this is going to be a very challenging Ben Shepherd series offensively. Could do some stuff defensively. He was better in the Knicks series than I expected.
Here's Turner coming in, and there's the foul off the miss. I don't know if this drop coverage on the Halliburton pick and roll is going to work out too well, guys. I think they're going to have something else. One thing that probably hasn't been talked about enough with McConnell is he's playing in large part with 5-out spacing. And they really, up until the departure of Sabonis, that really wasn't the case for him. And that's just him being the only non-shooter on the floor and then having all this space to just dribble around, and he's so expert at finding little creases to get his shot off. But the fact that there's never a big under the rim is just so valuable for him.
And now we get into one of the tactical matchups that I think will determine how long this series is, and that's how Luke Cornett fares in minutes where Tyrese Halliburton's on the floor.
There's Tatum going through Shepherd. Exact same call that took place on the other end, basically. Shepherd kind of reached in, and Tatum getting to the foul line is going to be a key battleground. So in the comments, LV said, you don't think Tatum would destroy Hallie? I don't know. I think it's quite possible he would.
That's not the way he plays most of the time. He can do it.
And it's like, is he going to physically overpower him? Because when you're switching that, it's way out on the floor at the top, right? It's different if he's posting up. And like Tatum, just he's not that fast off the dribble. I think most of what's going to result there is him knocking him backwards and shooting a mid-ranger. And how often does that go in? I mean, that might be good offense still, but it's also maybe worse offense than some other stuff they could do this limited defense. Nice pass fake Turner, and he goes right through Cornett. That was beautiful work. Turner has improved so much as a short roll. Now they're actually double teaming in the backcourt here. They get it to White, got it across with about a second to spare. Going after Shepherd now. McConnell inside position on Tatum. Oh, beautiful rip through immediately by Tatum. That's exactly how he needs to play. Halliburton again against the conventional pick and roll defense, but you could see Pritchard coming off of TJ McConnell, and this is part of why I'm worried this may not be as much of a McConnell series, because I think Halliburton is so good, you just don't want to take away from that. Pritchard gets Halliburton on his back. Cornett moves it quickly. Turner was on Jaylen Brown, and there's a semi-contested three. Here's McConnell in transition. Breaks into the lane. Turner is set up over Cornett, just in and out. The pace here has been withering. Pritchard looking to add to that. Pacers get back that time. Good stunt by Shepherd, but they're going to go right into the pick and roll game. Pritchard downhill against Shepherd. Cornett, nice little hand back to White. That was beautiful. Beautiful offense there. I know he missed it, but that's a way to take advantage of your center not being guarded. Halliburton back to Toppin, getting past Tatum. Goes around Toppin. Cornett forced the miss, but no secondary box out by Brown on Turner.
And go back to last possession. It was beautiful offense, but I also would have liked them to get the ball back to Tatum, guarded by Halliburton.
Yeah, White's a good enough shooter. I was good with him taking that shot. If it's someone else, I think I would agree with you. Yeah, Shepherd is the main matchup on Tatum. This is remarkable. And there's Tatum shooting the contested one after about 6 dribbles. That's, I think, what the Pacers want. Toppin pushing it up. McConnell, he's going to try to go out. White, who cuts him off. Cornette is on Turner, so McConnell has space. They lob it up. Toppin, beautiful pass. Turner, again, has been making some really nice decisions with Toppin getting inside position on Pritchard down low.
And as usual, your best entry passers are often your bigs, in part because they have a better passing angle.
Oh, yes. What footwork that is by Jaylen Brown. That's the move that's sweeping the nation.
The WNBA one, right?
Yep. Halliburton off the screen. Turner on the roll. There's their spot that they couldn't miss from in Game 7 against New York, but Turner did that time. Nice job by Shepherd getting back. Tatum just stayed on the attack, but he blew the layup. Halliburton gets it ahead. McConnell, look out! And Toppin thought he got pushed, but in the end, it'll just be Boston ball.
And Demon Lama asked, is the thing I've referenced as the WNBA thing, is that actually true? And the answer is yes. It was in the WNBA before it was in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, it was always legal. That's a move that's been around in women's basketball for at least 20 years. And in the men's game, I always thought it could be incredibly powerful because of the amount of ground that those guys can cover. And you saw it there because you lift up your pivot foot. As long as you don't put it back down, it doesn't matter that you still have the other foot on the ground. Here's Braun. Nice pick and pop. He's going to go in, and Horford screened off Turner to allow the floater.
Yeah, nice little. That wasn't even as aggressive a Gortat, but it was enough to get that floater. And so it's back up to a 9-point lead for the Celtics. Their offensive rating is a robust 142.1, but a lot of that is the 200 in transition. Their half-court offense has been good, but not like ridiculous.
Gonna grab a quick beverage here.
Josh says that the Celtics should get out of the drop coverage. But yeah, I mean, that's part of why the Cornette minutes were so important to me, is that they can't really do anything else. He is not a scheme versatile big. Theoretically, Boston could try, and I brought this up in our preview, going to more Xavier Tillman, because Tillman is more scheme versatile there. I like Tillman a lot, though he's very limited offensively. I don't know how much we'll see that. I don't know if the urgency will necessarily be there in certain moments, but Cornette can't really do a lot of other things. And so that's why I wanted to see the Cornette Halliburton minutes. And those have actually they haven't gone terribly for Boston defensively, but they're not giving me a ton of confidence that they'll go better. Are the Pacers trying to bait Tatum into isolating by putting Shepherd on him? They don't have that many, especially with some of the subs that they made. They don't really have that many capable one-on-one defenders. I mean, they could use Nesmith there, but I think one of the things they might want to try is Nesmith. Like, Nesmith can do a better job taking out Jaylen Brown rather than like making Tatum's life a little harder. And that was a good pass from Obi Toppin. Shepherd got downhill, and good movement off ball there from TJ McConnell. Understood that he had a little bit of an opportunity and gets 2 points. And that's what Obi Toppin brings you. I've been lower on Toppin overall, but the way that he makes your team play with pace and transition by virtue of just his effort, there is real value to that for almost any team, especially one that looks for a little bit of juice on their second unit. And Drew Holiday's asking for a replay. That it very well could have been out on Ben Shepherd, but we talked about the difference between the goaltend and that is the one that you can't challenge because the upside is not high enough.
Well, shit, I guess they came back from that timeout pretty quickly. I should have known they would do that.
That's all right.
What'd I miss? I guess 4 quick Indiana points, make it 6.
Yeah, Toppin running down the floor was probably the main thing. He pushed hard for another basket and then actually had a pretty good pass too.
Yeah, so Indiana back into contact. Now I wondered if they were Boston would just be up 9 the whole game. Not the case. Tatum is on the bench now. We're getting our first look at Sam Hauser. Here's Braun against Toppin. Blows right by him. I mean, that's just... And Isaiah Jackson, see, that's the difference between he and Turner. Turner is actually still not going to be so worried about Horford as McConnell goes to the impossible fadeaway. Horford was very well versed on that. And Holiday's just going to get stopped here. Shepard knocked it out of bounds.
And no Celtic was running in the right channel, so they didn't have an open dunk.
I mean, Toppin, that's like going left, free throw line jumper. Like he's really started to come into his own as an offensive player this season. But yeah, I mean, I think if he and Siakam's been out forever, I guess they really liked how things were going. Was he on 2 fouls or something? Did I miss that?
No, he has 0 fouls.
Yeah, not a lot of fouls.
There have only been 2 fouls called in the whole game so far. One on Shepard, one on Horford.
Basketball. Here's Pritchard, and he continues to make it beautiful basketball. Back up to 8. Now it's Horford on Siakam. They will switch that. Siakam did score pretty easily over Drew Holiday earlier. They go under on Toppin, and he knocks it down. Those are my favorite makes, when it hits the back rim and just like rockets down like that. Oh, and then Toppin gets a steal. They tried to find the weak side corner to get the 2-for-1. Indiana not really going to go that route. Shepard. Siakam wants to set a screen for McConnell. They don't want to go under on him. Now the late switch. Shepard rips through, finds Siakam moving without the ball. Holy shit, that's a great defensive possession. Or sorry, offensive possession.
Yeah, really good ball and player movement from the Pacers there.
What an atrocious call. That was a great moment, and I totally blew it. Oh well. Last shot of the quarter now for Tatum. Siakam steps out on him. Tatum on the ball, and that cross-court pass is deflected. 2 in a row, and Indiana, beautiful response. Neesmith actually hit the rim on that to lead, or to trail by 3 after the first.
I got a little bit of a flashback when, after a screening action, Jason Tatum ended up with Pascal Siakam on him. That was a long-running beef of mine with the 2020 series that the Celtics played against the Raptors, where Brad Stevens kept on running screening actions to get Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby guarding Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. That won't happen as much in the series. Probably. I will not apologize for triggering Jordan. It triggers me more.
So both teams just destroying each other at the rim right now. Boston did it mostly in transition. They're 6 of 7 there, total of 10 of 12 in the paint. Boston only forced into 1 mid-ranger, and that was a miss by Tatum. And then for Indiana, they are 7 of 8 at the rim, not as effective. Most of those misses from Siakam in the upper paint. And then one thing I think Boston be pleased with is only 6 3-point attempts for Indiana.
Indiana, after their ridiculous shooting yesterday, or last game, on 2-point jumpers, they're now 3 of 10 on 2-pointers away from the basket. The Knicks are seething in anger. And something that I think is interesting, cleaning the glass, of course, we're dealing with a small sample, particularly because of how that first quarter went. Indiana actually has a better first shot half court offensive rating than the Celtics do, 112.5 versus 108.7. The problem is for the Pacers is that they've been in transition less and been significantly less effective than the Boston Celtics. And so that's why there is still a Celtics margin in this game.
And we talked about this in the Knicks series too, that there is an adjustment with playing the Pacers. And I felt that the Knicks, eventually they just got so injured and so tired that it didn't matter anymore. But I felt early in that series, even when they had Anunoby, that there were moments when they just weren't as locked in defensively because they're just coming at you so fast. And there isn't sort of that time to just like reset your brain and be like, okay, what am I supposed to do here? All right, yeah, I'm going to execute this. It's like, no, they're on top of you again so fast that you can't you don't even have time to think about what you're supposed to be doing against them so many times.
And at times the Pacers can you can refill that cup against them because you don't have to use nuanced offensive process to get good points, but that takes some getting used to and understanding what the matchups are in the series. Like the way how hard they are to play against when you are on defense really does take a lot out of you.
And particularly just due to their depth and that the guys off the bench and probably run even harder.
We get asked if Jordan Poole could be a Pacer. I don't think so, especially when you think about beyond all the logistics of matching salary and everything else there, it's Tyrese Halliburton is a limited defensive player, and so you don't want to put another limited defensive player out, especially one who is often outright bad, next to him in the backcourt. It's just too easy for other teams. What app resources do you use for live in-game stats? I use a number of different ones. Cleaning the Glass, the NBA's official stuff, so like the publicly available, their shot charts are very good. Use those, and then I actually, because it's a little bit old school, if you go on everything, it's under summary. They have what's called the game book, and most of you probably are less familiar. I'm sorry, we're back.
We are, as Tatum misses another mid-ranger over a guy who ostensibly can't guard him. Jackson is back in, Toppin on the bench. Siakam has to just throw it away. Horford was all over that. Horford's defended him pretty well. Back to Pritchard. He'll fire from a step beyond the arc.
Whew. Oh, it's a briefly what I was going to say on the it's called the scorebook, and basically what that is it's kind of like the printouts of the stats quarter by quarter, which can be very useful.
Shepard missed that. Good job by Tatum. The Celtics are the best in the league at that play. Oklahoma City really needs to learn from them of just tipping it away from a guy who's about to get an offensive rebound, not even caring where it goes. There's Tatum again against Jackson. Jackson right in his face. Tatum going to try again. Again, he just waves everyone away. He's still on the ball. 0 pass possession. He just got it blocked. They get it back to Pritchard, and I do not think he got that off.
He needed to shoot that like as it touched his hands rather than taking a dribble.
Yeah, but this strategy of being able to switch whoever onto Tatum, being willing to do it, I think it's actually working pretty well so far. Celtics zone for the first time. Siakam up top. Nesmith trying to rotate through the middle. Now it's McConnell blowing past Sam Hauser, but he had to rush it with the left hand. Usually not his preferred finish around the rim. Here's Pritchard. He works on McConnell beautifully and scores on him.
That was nice.
Yeah, those two have so many similarities. Shepard going to try to post up Siakam here. Yeah, what is this defense? Yeah, they're just trying to, all of this is just kind of pre-switching to keep Horford on the baseline is what they're trying to do. Now, Nesmith shoots it over Holiday. That's a tough shot over Drew Holiday. Siakam picking up Holiday, who's been quiet so far. Siakam knocked it away again. Nice defense.
And some of the strength players in this not having as many advantages as that, like Drew Holiday going at Pascal Siakam, not a particularly fruitful matchup for me.
Yeah, we'll take this question next break on how you can quickly tell whether a team is in man or zone. Now Hauser moving off the baseline out of bounds. That missed. No, Shepard came back nicely, but then he throws it away immediately. Oh, yeah, here's Jalen Smith, and he immediately is going to get beat for a dunk by Horford. Oh, that's not entirely Smith's fault. That was a nice little play, though, because normally it'll be the big screening away for the guard in that circumstance. Instead, yeah, I mean, Nesmith, he just never reacted, right? I think he just assumed that Horford, was that a good block? I think that was actually.
And then and then he kind of caught him as Horford's body kind of kept moving. But yeah,
well, this is interesting. This is Nembhard as the point guard. No McConnell or Halliburton. Why don't they just put Halliburton back in? How long has he been out for?
And also, like, TJ McConnell played 9 minutes. He has no fouls. Like, I don't understand
I
this.
mean, he sat for 6 minutes. That's enough. Yeah, maybe they just want more size defensively. But yeah, I was starting to say, I think where Neesmith got fooled, he just assumed they were screening for Horford to go screen for someone else, and then he just cut right in front of him. Yeah, I would not put that on Jalen Smith. Now, a Nembhard is going to try Hauser, finds Neesmith moving without the ball. That was a pretty difficult shot. Smith kept it alive, and he did keep it alive. It'll be Indiana ball, team rebound.
Yeah, Tatum scrambled back, tried to get control of it, but couldn't.
Neesmith pops out. They switch that to prevent that shot. Good denial by Tatum. So they're going to force Neesmith to attack. He's going to go right in and score. Wow. Great finish by Neesmith. That's found money for Indiana. He was 8 for 8, of course, in Game 7. Nembhard is the matchup against Tatum. I think this is actually a matchup in which Nembhard can be pretty effective. Now Horford backing on Smith. Going to go left shoulder here. Smith not ready for it. And he's going to pick up the foul. That's just not good enough. Both these hooks by Al Horford, he's going left shoulder every single time.
It has been the scouting report on Horford since at least when he was at Florida. And yeah, that's a clear foul on Jalen Smith. I have enjoyed the last few years in a weird way that Jalen Smith is now playing with Tyrese Haliburton, the player who I was so excited that the Suns were about to take Tyrese Haliburton and thought he'd be a great fit with Devin Booker and Chris Paul. And then they took Jalen Smith and I was belligerently angry.
Should we do an entire podcast someday on which team fucked themselves the most by not taking Haliburton?
I mean, it'd be kind of fun.
I mean, it probably is the Suns. They're the closest to championship level. And Haliburton playing point guard next.
I mean, you could also make an answer that it's the Warriors. Didn't they? Am I counting the draft?
I don't think it. I mean, I think I would have to say after the top 3, because that's what is his realistic range. As Nembhard finds Turner, that's off a free throw. They get it, Duncan. Sorry for getting distracted there with the Haliburton conversation. Haliburton is back in now. Horford on the trail. Toppin steps out. That was a decent challenge. Oh, Hauser thought that went off of Nembhard, and I don't recommend challenging this at this point.
And that's Horford's 5th 3-point attempt already in this game.
Yeah, now an out of bounds is easier to miss. It's actually a good thing they didn't challenge.
I think that Horford...
He got fouled.
But
I don't know that Hauser... Yeah, it's clearly off of Nembhard. Yeah, a challenge would not have succeeded there. Cornette is back in. Brown working on top. And this, I love this matchup for Boston. And Brown scores again. He didn't get a great shot that time because I think he's better attacking him in space, but he still scored on him. Haliburton off of 2 screens. Setting up Nembhard. Beautiful fake there, even though Nembhard missed it. You could see that Holiday was helping off of him into the paint. Now Holiday getting deep post position easily. That's the matchup. I actually think that is the matchup that could be the most damaging to Indiana instead of Haliburton on Tatum, just because Holiday wants to play bully ball and he's not a main focus of the defense, and Haliburton is just such a piece of spaghetti.
The lack of force that Tyrese Haliburton plays with basically every single defensive possession is disappointing as somebody who liked him for different reasons than he ended up being successful for in a couple different ways. But one of those is I thought he'd be like an okay defensive player, and he's been so much worse than that.
Oh yeah, let's talk about how you know when it's zoned. So, I mean, number one is just a lot of times they'll show you because they just stand like this, right? Like that's kind of just that. Everyone's like, all right, we're in zone. Just put your hands up. I don't think it really does much before they're even into the offensive zone, but that's just kind of what they'll do. So that's kind of number one. Number two is if there's player movement and there isn't a defender following that guy. If it just looks like they're kind of more static. Now, sometimes you'll see that and it could be a box and one. So if there's only one player moving and only one defender moving, then maybe it's the box and one. Boston, though, kind of plays all these hybrid schemes where they're not technically playing a zone. There is a matchup, but they're then constantly switching off the ball to just assign the center to whoever the lowest offensive man is.
As somebody who grew up watching football, one way of looking at it, and you mentioned this, but just to repeat it a little bit, is actually very similar to football. It's when one player moves through an area and no one follows them. That's a pretty good signal.
I would probably still watch football if they just zoomed the cameras out more.
Yeah, if they made the all 22 publicly available or like easier to
Doesn't
get,
even have to be all 22. Well, it is. All 22 actually is publicly available, but only after the fact.
that's true.
But if they just like zoomed out more, especially what most kills me is when the ball is snapped and then they zoom in even more. It's like, no, they're running down the field, zoom out. Like, let's see everyone running down the field. Like, I want to see what coverage they're in and like who is open, who did they not throw to, like what the route combinations were. Like, all that would be absolutely fascinating. Like, okay, if it's a running play, go ahead, zoom in. But especially because now like the TVs are so much bigger, right? Like, I understand zooming in when everyone was watching on like their 19-inch Magnavox or whatever. But at this point, like, especially given how wide the TVs, like most people who are sitting at home watching football are watching on like some 75-inch screen.
I got asked the question of, is there a historical case where a player was sidelined in one series and then able to contribute the next play, like DNP CD'd all the time? And styles makes fights, and you can get into different circumstances if guys not being playable. Nate is more encyclopedic on this, but it does happen all the time. Where like, especially with bench players, where they're not a good fit for that series. You can't run that kind of scheme. And Isaiah Jackson and Jalen Smith make sense for that because they have such different strengths and weaknesses.
That 65-inch screen is pretty good too. It's all a question of like how far away you are. Like, I think I have like a 60 in here, but also my room is like 10 feet wide. So yeah, so Horford has really been fantastic so far with 9 points, but he is only 1 of 5 from 3, and I like that 5 for Indiana's defense. Like, when Turner's been in, they have largely not, like, that's been what they've been willing to give up. They throw it in. Oh, I thought Siakam got pushed in the back there.
He did.
Tatum getting the forearm into Nembhard, who re-engages. Oh, beats him along the baseline, but Turner came over to swallow it up. He's still somehow on the ball, though. Siakam has picked up Tatum, and he knocks it away. Cornette. Oh, nice backdoor. And what did they just call? Offensive foul on Tatum pushing off?
Yes, that is what they called.
Let's see it here. Yeah, that's a good call. He's got 2 hands on him. Haliburton off the screen. Floater. Missed it. Haliburton was a devastating floater shooter this year. We haven't seen much of it in these playoffs yet. Braun tried to go backdoor on Toppin. Now he's going to back in. Gets to his spot. Toppin defended it well. Braun with the footwork. Tough fadeaway. That was good defense by Toppin.
Just pass out of that one. They had enough time on the clock.
Yeah, I think so. Nembhard, I thought maybe traveled before he put it down, but here's more transition for Indiana, and Turner cashes it out. Then White down the floor. Turner forced him to turn around. Cornette's trying to post up underneath. They like good pressure by Turner prevented that pass. Now they switch back behind the play. That was a great job. White's going to get open though, and Pacers will go the other way here.
But Albert as weird as that is, like Cornette touching that ball, there might be some weird circumstances where Boston should try to do those kinds of tips and just take it away from the Pacers getting a transition play. That one was by accident.
Spain pick and roll being set up here. Nembhard finding Turner. He tried to end Cornette, and I think that just bounced out of his hand and in. I don't think he had much touch on that. It just caromed in off the backboard. Celtics go to a Spain pick and roll. Double team on Tatum. Tatum on the crossover. Backs it on Toppin. And he has to kick out. No advantage. Back to Tatum in the post. Tatum goes quickly, blows by him for the dunk, and he got shoved in the back.
And that's the kind of aggressive Jason Tatum you want to see. Looks like he's targeting Obi Toppin a little bit. I'd like to see Boston run some of those Spain pick and rolls with Halliburton involved. I think that's one thing they could do, but you generate that, I'm not going to complain too much.
Yeah, and Tatum, that to me, that spin, quick spin right, quick spin left, off the catch with a live dribble is to me his best move. And that's just when you give up that kind of a blow by, it's just not possible to get over there and really get the stop if you're Turner. You got to really anticipate that. And it was so fast. I mean, if you think about it, they both have about equal distance to travel given how wide the lane is. Halliburton off the screen. Turner, look out!
And that, again, Cornette, deep drop against Halliburton. They're generating good looks consistently.
So if I'm a Boston defender here, let's see what takes place here. Just Cornette goes in off the trap. Cornette's smiling because he just got a dunk right after Turner did on a very similar play. But we'll talk about that in pick and roll in a second. That time, Pritchard actually gets over the screen. That time, Siakam has to set the screen, and they get him into the post. Front it. Help comes from Cornette. Siakam, beautiful kick out. Turner on the move. Way too late. Throw it to Halliburton. All right, you could just make it yourself, but Halliburton was wide open. Instead of the step back, he could have just thrown it to him. So one thing that's happening on these Turner pick and rolls is Halliburton is like no contact's being made in the screen. Halliburton is just accelerating and getting released downhill without Turner even having to make contact on the screen. So they're getting the worst of both worlds of Turner getting out of his role early and Halliburton getting downhill. Whoever's on Halliburton has got to make sure they just defend him and don't just act like there's a screen coming and you're never going to make it. Terrible shot there.
Awful.
Yeah, I mean, and then that's close to a transition take foul, but we'll get the timeout here. Is that the first time out of this quarter? Like, were we 2 minutes below the under timeout?
Well, because there was the challenge.
No, there wasn't a challenge.
Yes, there was. The goaltend at the very beginning of the game. Oh, we're talking second quarter.
Is in the second quarter now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There are 2 quarters so far. I'm looking through. I believe we went straight through till then.
Yeah, so that was kind of maybe just I'm pretty tired. I'm going to foul here.
Oh no, they didn't call that foul. I think Neesmith had heard that Boston was going to call for a timeout, and so he just kind of like reached.
Gotcha.
They didn't call a foul.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's hard to tell because we have the volume turned down pretty well. It would be pretty hard to call the game while also listening to someone else call the game.
Well, that's you listen to it. I often can't listen to it with any of the other audio. You listen to it with some. It depends for me on the moment. I try to anticipate the whistles. It's hard. It's hard either way.
Is the Pacers defense holding up, or the Celtics just not being aggressive enough? I mean, what's their offensive rating right now?
Boston's at a 121 and 105 first shot half court, which actually, again, still worse than the Pacers, who are at a 110.
Yeah, so this has actually been a crazy fast pace. This might be the fastest game of the playoffs so far. This is 43 possessions already.
Yeah, with 5 minutes to go in the second. Is this Celtics team without Porzingis better than last year's?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I believe so.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you got Drew, and they didn't really have anyone that you loved at backup center last year. It was Grant Williams. Am I forgetting someone else that they had last year? Yeah, Derek White is way better offensively. I think Brown and Tatum are both a little bit better. Probably Brown even more so than Tatum. They just are more comfortable in Joe Mazzulla's system as well. He's a better coach. And so, yeah, I think they are better. I mean, and I think just getting rid of Smart and replacing him with Holiday, like the level of that's probably an upgrade on defense and definitely a massive upgrade on offense just because Holiday shoots 44% from three.
And
I guess Rob Williams is the guy I was forgetting, but I didn't think he was all that effective last year.
Yeah. And Marcus Smart also, it's not only the 3-pointer difference, but it's also like some of the shots that he was willing to take that Drew Holiday just doesn't take. That could be a challenge too. fast favors Indiana in the long run. I broadly agree with that. I think that there will be, I mean, both teams benefit from playing fast in the situations when it is to their advantage. So it's sometimes you want to think of it as offensive and defensive pace as different things, because the other part about pace is that you're generally going to be able to execute it when things have gone well for you in the other part. That's why basketball is a game of runs and feedback loops and everything else. So I think both of these teams are much better when they run than when they don't. And so your goal is to get yourself into circumstances when you can run.
Yeah, so what Missoula is saying there is most of the shots they're taking are 5-on-5. That's the most important thing. Nice little play here, and I thought Indiana defended that pretty well, but when you have the shooting of Holiday, that was really, really good. To the multiple screening actions, they had to take the roller out of that after the back screen. Now Siakam's going to just easily back down White, blew it, but got the tip with his left hand. So, yeah, they had to help off the weak side corner, and Holiday got that three. But that was a really cool play. I haven't seen them run that before. Spain pick and roll. No advantage. Nice defense there by the Pacers. Holiday against Siakam. Tough step back, and it goes off the top of the backboard. Turner did well to box out. They get it ahead to Nembhard. Nembhard in the lane. Turner back to Haliburton. He attacks. Haliburton stepping back, moving without the ball. Pritchard continues to compete. Finally, Haliburton gets open. That's got to be so demoralizing. That was Steph Curry like right there, wasn't it?
Was nasty. Yeah, that was really, really good by Haliburton.
Now they try to involve Haliburton in the pick and roll. They don't want to switch him onto Jaylen Brown. Brown blows in, and Nesmith got the strip, but Cornette is right there to clean up. Unlucky there for Indiana. Back to Haliburton. Nembhard. I thought he could have attacked there. Instead, he kicks out. Now Turner on the drive. Nembhard is wide open, gets his feet ready, and drains it. Good footwork by Nembhard because that pass was a little bit off target, but he managed to get his body behind it.
But I liked Miles Turner there, getting into the lane, generating a response, and then making the pass.
Yeah, Turner has been wonderful on these short roll closeout attack situations. Now it's Pritchard and pick and roll. They get the switch, get it back to Brown. Brown should have gone immediately there. He's too slow now. Trying to back down. I mean, that's and then he misses it. Good help from Siakam and Holiday though runs that down. He can't save it. He did save it. It's still loose. Oh, what a pass by Siakam as Aaron Nesmith sprinted the floor and got a dunk. That was fantastic.
And we're tied.
10-0 run for Indiana. Brown with Tatum off the floor. And as much as we want to crap on Tatum's offense, he is always just about their best plus-minus player. Brown against Nembhard. Tries to create space. Good defense by Nembhard. They'll take that shot. They can outscore that shot. Forcing Haliburton to the left. Nesmith just ran into him, and we're going to get Turner on an offensive foul as White goes down. I want to take another look at that one. By the way, how glad are you that that terrible call on Turner in Game 1 by Tyler Ford didn't decide things?
That's an illegal screen. He was rolling down. That's an illegal screen to me.
Yeah. I mean, this is an incredible play. Siakam to save it. He almost stepped on the end line.
I think the ball bounced out of bounds once there, but
I mean, the referee was right there. I didn't think we had enough to see it. Here's White off the screen. Pick and pop Horford. That's what they're going to give up.
That's number
Siakam
6.
Stunted over. Yeah, I mean, I will absolutely let him fire that shot. Here's Haliburton. Nesmith. Great catch. Great finish.
And Al Horford there was on Pascal Siakam. He is not in position to help.
And Tatum complaining to Tony Brothers that Nesmith touched the ball, which you're not supposed to do, and it should be a delay a game. He might have a point there. Back screen. Oh, he's wide open. Turner comes over, though. Kick to the corner. Good late peel switch by Nesmith to get out there, but White's going to get a foul on Nembhard from behind. But that was a back screen for Tatum near midcourt. Throw the pass. Turner reacted beautifully. Nesmith got picked off, so he goes to the corner to take Turner's man. That was excellent communication by those two guys. And They ended up giving up a foul because Nembhard got beaten, but it was pretty impressive to snuff out what looked like it was going to be a dunk. Yeah, White, of course, had an itinerant journey before even getting to the Spurs. He was drafted at age 23, and he started at a small college in Colorado, finished up at Colorado, and was always a very solid athlete for the point guard position, was known more as a driver. He had that crazy 36-point game in game 3 of the 2019 first round against Denver, and was always one of the best defenders at his position, but then has become an excellent pick and roll player and shooter even more as Halliburton shoots his mid-ranger and scores over Horford. That was nice. They were trying to deny up top, so they just set a little backstream for him. I mean, the biggest thing you have to say here, too, that's huge is like Halliburton has looked like that guy in the first half, the guy that they need him to be to compete in this series. Siakam on Braun. Braun turns the corner. They didn't want to switch that with Halliburton. Turner forced the miss at the rim. Halliburton has White on him. He wants to go at Horford in the pick and roll, gets the switch. Here's what we've been waiting to see, this switch rather than the conventional pick and roll defense. Halliburton going right, tough, fading three, way short.
And Boston has a chance to push for the 2-for-1 here.
Let's see if they get it. White is going to pull. Way short. It's way loose, though, and all the way by midcourt, it's Horford, now Braun. Down to 7 to shoot. Very stagnant offense. He just held the ball for 10 seconds. White stepping back, got great separation against Nembhard and drains it. So what a first half this has been. Very enjoyable basketball, and it's now Holiday guarding Halliburton. They're going to go at Horford and pick and roll, and they'll take the foul to give with 6.2.
I don't generally love the foul to give. I don't love it there either, just because you provide the other team with an opportunity to like kind of call a play there. If the other team has an advantage, sure. I didn't think there was one there.
6.2 to go. Halliburton going to pop out. Holiday takes him. They throw it to Turner. Try to get it back to Halliburton. He should just take that shot. There it is. Woo! Oh, yeah.
Here we go.
1.8 left for the Celtics. Tied at 64 after a ridiculous Halliburton shot. But that is well within his range. Horford gets it off.
Chet, no.
And what a first half this was. This series, I think, is going to be a lot of fun. If this continues at all, we'll be back for the second half. Wow, what a first half that was. Almost no stoppages. It was over in a blink. And it was really just almost too much to digest at once.
A flurry of action. You got that molten 12-0 start by the Boston Celtics. Then after that, Indiana kind of got back into form, stabilized a little bit, fewer turnovers, fewer missed layups, and got something a little bit more like what we expected. And one of the big takeaways of that was, even though he only had 11 points during the first half, that was more like the Tyrese Halliburton I was hoping to see.
Yeah, and now the Pacers 8 of 15 from 3, Boston 7 of 22. That's part of it. Now part of that is Horford, part of that is them wanting to give that up. And so Horford is, I think, a big fulcrum on both ends. They went to switching him onto Halliburton late. He did force a miss with Halliburton shooting a pretty difficult step back. But what they were doing in pick and roll against him was not working at all. Then the way that they've supplemented just by attacking in transition and just finding some little quick ways to attack, and their offense was really humming in that first half.
And one of the ways we try to measure that health is assists per made field goal. 17 assists on 25 made field goals for Boston, 22 on 27 for Indiana.
So it is Halliburton still on Holiday. Horford against her. They try to screen for Tatum, getting him to the block. He shoots right away, but missed it. Again, that's a shot that I think they could probably outscore, certainly the way they played in the first half. So that time they're able to keep Turner out of the pick and roll with Horford. Now they're going to bring him in. So it's interesting they're not really trying to pre-switch that much. Here's Halliburton going to just go right in. I mean, there's no help on the
was that
weak
a
side.
miscommunication? It seems.
I mean, surely it must have been. Maybe they thought there was going to be a switch. Now Holiday going to try Halliburton. White coming around the screen. Offensive foul called on the handoff against Holiday setting the screen.
And I like that being a foul. It's you're using the handoff action. You're kind of weaponizing it. It's a moving screen at that juncture.
Well, and what a failure this is. You got two guys standing right next to each other. Like Jaylen Brown's like not even aware, as now we're going to get a foul, I think, out on the floor here.
Speaking of failures,
wondering
this
why.
one production.
Yeah.
And because there were so few stoppages, absolutely no one is in foul trouble.
Now Siakam going at Horford. Horford blocked him from behind. Nice play there. Siakam maybe could have gone left-handed. White eluding Halliburton with the fake. Left it short. Rebounded by Siakam, who did well to get back after the block shot. Back to Siakam. Going downhill on Horford. Hands off Nembhard. Now you're going to look to involve Halliburton here with Horford guarding Siakam. Good job by Braun getting over the screen. Rejected by Halliburton. He fires. Oh, my. Oh, my. That is just filthy. Absolutely filthy. And now Horford's wide open as Turner. I thought he could have challenged a little bit better there. He was attuned to Holiday potentially attacking Halliburton and then never got out on Horford. That's a little bit too much batting practice there. Now it's Siakam downhill. Goes to that foul line mid-ranger. Again, the Pacers' magic from that spot hasn't carried over from Game 7. Now Braun tries Turner. Turner backs off him, steps through. And that's that same move. Again, I mean, that is so devastating. You can pump fake from 15 feet and shoot a layup with that move. Now Turner going to try. Oh, he elbowed Brown, it looked like, and then he throws it away. Now it's Tatum downhill at Halliburton. Halliburton goes for the swipe. Tatum finishes. Boston back in front.
I'm trying to think. I'm sure there are one or two of if there's a worse single the anti Danny Green single player back transition defender than Tyrese Halliburton. Like even D'Angelo Russell sometimes gets a strip.
Yeah, Carlisle going to the early timeout.
HODL says, think we're seeing just how much the Celtics are missing Porzingis, despite Horford's offense, Turner, Thompson seem to have no problem getting their own shot. And something that has come up over the course of these playoffs is that Boston's defense without Kristaps Porzingis available is significantly more pedestrian than they were before.
Oh, here's a good question to ask the chat. I've got asked this by a mutual friend of ours. What player who finished the season on the Pistons roster, no looking it up, by the way, don't cheat, who finished the season on the Pistons roster was second in scoring, counting only games that this player played with the Pistons? And I'll give you a hint, it is not Jaden Ivey, apparently. I don't know who it is.
I do know who it is.
Did you figured it out?
No, I looked it up. It was a player I had considered. But they finished the season. This is of players who finished the season.
No Boyan, no Alec Burks, and it's not Flynn either.
No, it is
so
not.
I mean, I couldn't even think of another guess at this point. It's not Duren.
It's not.
Yeah, who else would it even be?
The
Bagley
answer,
got traded.
The answer may surprise you.
It would seem so. Okay, who is it?
Simone Fontecchio.
Oh yeah, all right, there we go.
Zico
got it in the comments.
He tied Jaden Ivey, but I think technically was fractions of a point higher. 15.4 per game, and then after that,
he really scored that much for them, huh? He played well for them.
Yeah, 16 games.
He's gonna get paid.
I hope so.
Is Halliburton's ceiling higher than Tatum's ceiling? Oof.
Yes.
That is. You think so?
I think Halliburton can be the best offensive player in basketball. And that even if Tatum is a better defender, that is a different margin.
Ooh. Maybe you're right. We've been talking about Tatum's lack of ceiling for a while, and he gets subtly better each year. But it's like we're never, I don't think, going to have him as a top 5 player. Oh, that's crazy to think about. But
Tyrese Halliburton over the first 2 months of the season might have been the best. Now, part of that's because Jokic didn't have his greatest start, but I thought Halliburton was the best offensive player in basketball over the first 2 months of the season. And so it's possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying if we're talking 95th and above percentile outcome and above, I think it's Halliburton.
Do you think Mathurin could make a big difference in this series? Oh yeah, absolutely. I think he would help the Celtics win much faster.
Good Lord. Not that I'm disagreeing too hard.
Oh, a flare screen for Halliburton. Holiday snuffed that out beautifully. Now it's Nesmith on the drive against Braun, and Braun stole it. That was way too short of an area to make that pass. Good job loading to Braun. He's still going to back down, though. He forces the double. Holiday, White, good rotation by Siakam, and then it's stolen by Halliburton. Halliburton on the push. Fakes underneath Nembhard from 2-point range along the baseline. It always shocks me how guys just randomly can always make that shot. I'm like, it's such a weird place. There's no backboard as Holiday just then pulls right back up against Turner. This is an absolute track meet right now. There's another attempt and finally a foul. This should be non-shooting.
Kind of on that front, at one time, I think I was talking with Jared Dudley about corner threes versus above the break threes. And I'm like, people preferring to shoot it. He's like, it's closer. And I'm like, it's not that much closer. It is closer. But apparently they believe it.
Yeah, they're going Tatum now on Turner, trying to have Horford guarding Siakam. Here's Halliburton going to set up Siakam for a rare dunk for him. He usually is more of a layup guy, but that was way too easy again. Halliburton has just been devastating. Screen for Tatum with Nesmith on him. Tatum, very deliberate, tries to go after Halliburton again. Late clock. Halliburton gets out of there. Holiday on the drive, sends it out to Horford. He'll have to fire it quickly, and that pretty good defensive possession there by the Pacers, I would say.
Turner responded quickly enough to inspire the pass instead of the layup by Holiday.
Turner's been good.
Yeah.
Last couple games against the Knicks, and in this one, he's getting back to where I think he needs to be defensively for these guys. Deep post up for Turner. He's still in the lane. He has to shoot immediately and scores Porzingis style. Never brought the ball down. Back screen for White. Now he's going to pop out. Tatum against Nembhard. Not really an advantage matchup to me. Holding the ball, just shoots over him from mid-range. He makes it. That's fine. Pacers got the ball out of the rim. Back to Halliburton. Oh, he dribbled off his own foot. It went right to Siakam. Halliburton with plenty of space. He fires again. That time off the heel. Not quite as comfortable going left in that circumstance. Nembhard switching on to Tatum once more. They're going to try to go after him like the Knicks did. Backing down. Double team. Nope. Foul.
I was about to bring up that it felt like this game was played with a running clock, and my heart jinxed it rather than my voice. But this has been an exceedingly low foul game so far. You have 13 fouls called combined. You have, before these free throws, I think you have 9 free throws combined. It's been delightful.
Yeah, Nembhard discussing things with Tony Brothers.
Oh, I forgot he went to Montford as well. There's so many guys who went there.
Yeah, Tatum gets Boston back up by 2. It's Holiday now at the main matchup on Halliburton rather than White. Halliburton moving off the ball. He just sets up a wide open three. That's just simply with his off-ball movement. But I think Boston is going to start living with Siakam wide open threes, certainly rather than Turner. Now Holiday waves everyone away. He wants to just go at Halliburton. Let's see where the help comes from. Nesmith coming over. Holiday bludgeons his way in, and there's the foul. I would run that until they decide they're going to double team, because Drew Holiday can just back him down to the front of the rim every single time.
And you're also not going to get any turnovers on it until they start doubling.
Yeah, and I also want to do it as much as I can when Horford is out there, because once you put Cornette in, that becomes a lot easier to deal with. Yeah, I think this is very important for Boston to get to the line, set up their defense, catch their breath, just not have this be quite as frenetic of a game. And McConnell coming in here early, this is going to certainly short circuit Halliburton's pick and roll game to some degree. Halliburton will probably work more off the ball. Celtics go into a zone here, and they immediately strip it from top and 2-on-2. Brown, and another foul. Third straight possession now. The Celtics have gotten to the foul line.
Great anticipation there. And that's another time. So the one that he got on Nesmith, where Jaylen Brown anticipated the action that was coming and just got his hand in the mix.
Yeah, not a great start for two bench guys coming in to turn the ball over 40 feet from the basket.
So I just was looking this up. Because I cracked up when they were like, oh, wait, that's Ryan Nembhard. I need to look up Andrew Nembhard. Apologies. I was going to say the other guys that were on that Montverde team.
Missed free throw, more transition for the Pacers. Halliburton is double teamed. He gets off of it. Nesmith. Good job by the Celtics getting back there. Halliburton going to try to involve Horford in pick and roll. They force him left away from the screen, and that's got to be a charge. Yeah, I mean, that's, even though maybe he's not technically in his path, as Holiday's like, yeah, what are you doing, man? I mean, like, that, it's just, he's just standing there. Like, it's just such an obvious foul. Like, it just, like, so it's so reckless and out of control that whether he was technically there or not, I think it's, you got to just call that one. Tatum gets Turner switched onto him off that screening action. Turner trying to bother him. Nesmith hanging out under the rim. He'll come over and help. And a defensive 3-second. I was watching Nesmith the whole time. He thought he was within range of Cornette, but he really wasn't. Cornette was outside the lane, and Nesmith was standing in the charge circle. That's a good call. So more free throws here for Boston.
But he misses that free throw.
Yeah, but this slowing of the pace does somewhat play into Boston's hands. Not that they shouldn't be trying to attack and transition as much as they can. I think they should. But to get fouled, and the Pacers foul a lot too, is pretty useful. So now they've got Shepherd guarding Tatum. Tatum will take the three as they go under, and he drains it. So it's an 8-point Boston lead now. Not a 4-point possession because he missed the free throw.
And another Jaylen Brown deflection.
Yeah, looks like this is a zone here. We haven't had a chance to see that much of it. They immediately got the steal, and then Brown backing off of McConnell. Yeah, this is definitely a zone with Cornette. And wow, Toppin has just been involved in some awful turnovers. I'm not sure whether that got deflected or what. Holiday now guarded by Halliburton. Goes right in. Help comes from Turner. Turner stripped Cornette beautifully. That's the exact reason right there why I wanted them to do more of that when Horford was in.
So Turner completely contested the original play and then also got back into it.
And Cornette can't finish that one. Nice pass by Derek White, but that little baseline out of bounds, spin move. They beat Shepherd with that, and then more free throws here coming again for Boston, and they should be in the bonus, I think, at this point, right?
They will be after this, and this is a shooting foul. So one of the curiosities for me with Luke Cornette is that Cornette came into the league in the first couple of years he was on the Knicks. He was taking about 9 threes per 36 minutes. He attempted one this entire season, I believe was at the very end of the year.
Yeah, when he moved to the Bulls, he kind of stopped taking them, and I guess they feel like he doesn't make them, or just that he's better as a role man.
I mean, so those 2 years, Cornette, age 22 and 23, he made 35 and 36% of those high-volume threes, and then it's gone.
And we're going to get a lane violation, but we'll go the other way. Cornette, kind of a weird free throw motion.
Are they arguing about whether the lane violation is technically correct?
Yeah, why did Carlisle take the ball away from Tyrese? Because it has to be in McConnell's hands.
As somebody once said, he McConnellizes the offense.
Yes. The game, even, I would say. Not even necessarily the offense. So jump ball here is a mutual lane infraction. Boston's defense much better so far. Only 11 points, just over 6 minutes, and they've done it mostly through forcing turnovers. Halliburton gets it back. See Tatum hanging out of McConnell. McConnell's in the corner, and Tatum just doesn't have to guard him at all. Tatum's going to come help here. That's what he does. They leave the corner. They try to get a flare screen for Nesmith, and Brown blocks it out of bounds.
And then knocks it off him.
It's going to be the other way. What a play by Brown.
He has been wonderful defensively in this third quarter.
Yeah, another Pacer. I mean, that was a block shot technically, but another time they don't get a shot on goal. Yeah, they're putting it in Holiday's hands, and everyone has to be more attuned there because of Halliburton. They go under, and no three. Tip away by Turner was nice. Here's Halliburton in transition. Celtics did well to get back. McConnell into the lane. Picked up by Brown nicely. McConnell really has not had much of an effect. There's that hand back. Halliburton moving without the ball, but he missed it. He's gotten pretty good separation off the ball, I would say, from Jrue Holiday. Now Tatum getting past Nesmith, slows down in the lane. That was a beautiful move. And he's going to go to the foul line too, as Boston is completely taking control right now.
Really like that patience from Jason Tatum. And so far, Boston, they took 8 free throws in the first half. These will, I think, be 8, and these will be 9 and 10 of just this quarter.
Yeah, Pacers now have not scored since the 8-14 mark. And Boston is either scoring or getting to the foul line in every possession.
Oh, that's an interesting question from Christian. We'll probably get preliminary answers on this, but Which non-US country are you most bullish on for international basketball over the next 5 to 10 years? My first thought is France.
Yeah.
France, they have great size. I've already started my draft film, so I've been watching some French eligible players, let's put it that way, and have some thoughts on them that will be shared later. But the concern with France, as it has been a lot of the last stretch, is that their guard play just isn't good enough, and so hopefully they can have some of those. That is a good thing about Canada, is that Canada has their guard play. They just don't have bigs. They don't, and Canada, like, Wiggins is still an interesting wing internationally, but like they don't have quite enough there either. So it's those teams would have very different strengths. But part of what makes the US so nasty for international play is the volume, because like the US they have backups to their backups at basically every position and role.
Well, what if Australia gets Ben Simmons to play for him?
Okay.
Let's see. Let's hit a few YouTube questions here. Yeah. So, oh yeah, that already came from YouTube.
What about Serbia? They've got some dudes. They've got some guys.
Well, yeah. So who is that? That's Bogdan, obviously Jokic. Bogdan. I just don't think they can defend well enough.
Topic is Serbian, I believe.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't think a rookie. I guess it's over the next
5 to 10 years.
I don't know anything about Topic yet. Serbia has always just really struggled to have any wings or any good.
Yeah, there needs to be an influx of like 6'8" dudes in other countries to make this stuff more interesting.
Yeah, I mean, who's the best French guard right now? Ntilikina? Or like some guy like Hurtel?
Are we talking about point guards? Well, and Hurtel's not going to play in the Olympics. So
I mean, De Colo is probably a little too old. Oh yeah, Hurtel. Yeah, because he's playing in Russia. They don't let him, right?
Right.
Yeah, Fournier, I guess, is okay, but yeah, he's more of a shooter. He's not like someone who can really like get him into their offense.
Point Gobert. It's just how you do it.
So let's talk about what Indiana can do to get their offense flowing again. Some of it's just been missing some shots. I do think when Halliburton's been involved, they've been getting pretty decent stuff. I do think McConnell is really hurting them. They've kind of struggled a little bit with this zone too. They also just have been like kicking the ball away on some of these atrocious turnovers.
It's also one of the big problems for the Pacers. They're now up to 88.7% of their possessions being first shot half court because of all these free throws. I mean, you can run off a free throw miss. You could maybe even run off a free throw make, but it's hard.
I'm actually listening to what Tatum was saying. We're talking a little strategy. The mic'd up stuff has been way better this year, by the way. I will give them some credit for that. I think maybe that's the league just giving him a little bit more leeway to actually like get some strategy stuff out there. So Tatum completes the 3-point play, and another half-court possession coming here for Indiana. Toppin is in as well, and more zone defense from the Celtics. Halliburton now top. Nice job here finding Nesmith. Toppin in the lane. Cornette did well to knock it away. Now here's Toppin going at Cornette, and that's a beautiful finish. But Cornette is difficult to score on in there. Now they're involving Halliburton once more. They're doing it every single time. This is a matchup I think that might be even worse for them than Holiday on him, and they're going to get a wide open three by attacking him.
And so Siakam doesn't know where to be, and it's Drew Holiday making that shot, the shot that Marcus Smart didn't consistently hit.
Yeah. I mean, that is just such a difference for their offense. Here's Halliburton getting open off the ball against the zone. They did a nice flare screen, but Halliburton missed that one. Tatum.
What the hell was that pass?
Steal. McConnell does a lot of bowling, so he knew that pass was coming. Here's Toppin, corner three. Missed it. And Nesmith kept it alive. Got it to Toppin somehow. McConnell in the lane. Cornette got a great contest. You see where he came from there? And then Tatum blocks Siakam from behind. Finally, McConnell able to clean it up. But Cornette, again, he really bothered McConnell on that shot. He looked like he was nowhere close. Oh, nice. That was Nikola Jokic-esque, faking like you're going to go set the screen and then cut. McConnell baseline. Neesmith gets Cornet in the air. Pass is too low for Toppin, but Cornet slow getting out there to Siakam. Rebounded by Tatum, though. Indiana's shooting has been atrocious in this third quarter.
And you brought up the play on the pass there. I also really like Drew Holiday faking, kind of using the version of topsiding to get an open layup.
Tatum backing down on Neesmith across the lane, goes through his arm. Missed it. He was so concerned about going through his arm that he didn't actually make the shot. Now Siakam kicking out Toppin. He'll try to drive. Fakes it. That was a beautiful rim read by Toppin Jaylen Brown was too slow getting back into the play. That's tough to do, right? You ran him off the line, but if you're beaten, you run behind him and he'll switch onto the big that he's going to pass it to. Brown was just too tired to do that, and Missoula's going to take a timeout.
28-17 start to the third quarter in favor of the Boston Celtics, and getting to the line, of course, a huge part of that. And Obi Toppin, yeah, he did a nice job since he knew, he kind of recognized that Brown wasn't back. It was a 2-on-1. And I bring this up all the time in transition. You force the player to make a commitment, and then once they make a commitment, the one, then you do whatever they're conceding, and you can generate a good shot most of the time there. And honestly, most of the time you can see it by Cornet with the way he took that step forward. The pass was there, and great job by Obi Toppin.
I think the Pacers only have made 1 3 in this quarter. It might even be wrong. It might be 0. Let me see if I can find that.
I can get that. Just a second.
Oh yes, with your.
It is 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I maintain the why I brought up this up before. They use the scorebook. Part of how I do it is so I keep the last thing up, and so I could just scroll between it. Do basic math.
Yeah, Pacers improbably are now down to a 111 offensive rating.
And part of that's because they're now turning the ball over on 18% of their possessions.
Yeah. How many turnovers do they have in this quarter?
5.
That's not too good.
No, and I think 2
So
of those
McConnell stays in here. Yeah, this McConnell. Oh, Halliburton gets the steal on the flare screen. He read that perfectly, and no, Pritchard just blocked it out of his hands.
That was Jaylen Brown's hustle because Halliburton didn't have the layup. He tried to do that drop off pass, and Boston actually probably should have gotten that ball.
Yeah, now he may get fouled here. Yeah.
He did get fouled.
Look where Tony Brothers is, right? He's trying to sprint back as best he can, but he just can't see that. I mean, you if you don't see it, you can't call it.
And
yeah.
In a certain way, I think that the broadcast is doing the referees a disservice by showing that a billion times and not being like, this is really hard to call.
Toppin looking for McConnell coming off the screen. They go way under on him, and he accelerates. There's a viral clip of him talking shit to Bruce Brown when he was on Toronto, saying, like, keep going under. And that's what he likes, because then he can accelerate, and it's tough to get back in front.
And that was also a late reaction from Sam Hauser. He could have been on.
Sure. I mean, he's got to know. He's like, if you're going to meet him on the other side, you got to meet him. He just didn't get there. Posting up Braun on Shepard with Tatum getting a rest. This is a chance for Indiana to get back into it. Hauser shoots the 3 way off, and Neesmith boxed out Holiday to get Indiana the ball back. Siakam setting the screens there. Holiday goes under that time. Lots of switching. They don't communicate well enough, though. That time, Holiday didn't know whether he was switching back onto him on the handoff. And he was like, oh, wait, never mind. It's Horford, or it's Siakam. Horford's supposed to stay with him. And just that moment's hesitation gives up a layup. Now Indiana can get transition again. McConnell pushing it up with Halliburton on the bench. There goes Toppin. Oh, they had him for the oop, but that opens up Neesmith for a 3. And Indiana is right back in it now, only down 4.
After all that sound and fury, and Drew Holiday getting downhill. I love this running off of makes.
He'll fire it. Celtics missing some open ones. Brown is wrapped up by Siakam.
And so these will be I think the 10th and 11th free throws for the Celtics of the quarter, more than they had in the first half.
Yeah, and you saw what? Yeah, you see Holiday points. I think probably what they're supposed to do is not switch that because it is Siakam and it is Horford, but or because frankly there was no contact actually made as Braun misses the free throw, but the moment's miscommunication and Siakam's got a layup.
And that is the 5th missed free throw for the Celtics. They're 13 of 18. The Pacers are 2 of 2.
And on that Neesmith 3, McConnell with a nice little play in transition, even if you don't necessarily have anything, if you just cross the face of the defense, a lot of times you can kind of set a de facto screen and throw it back to the trail man wide open. 2-for-1 time for the Pacers here. They want to involve Pritchard in pick and roll. Pritchard switching out of McConnell. Pick and pop. It's Shepard for 3. Shepard more comfortable from the corners. Oh, and that is an atrocious foul by Neesmith, and hopefully Braun is okay. Neesmith said that he got pushed. I just didn't really
see someone
see
there.
much there.
Pushed by whom?
Yeah, I think Braun, he probably got his toe jammed into the ground a little bit by Neesmith falling on his heel.
Yeah, thankfully it doesn't seem like there was too much of an impact there.
Now, I don't understand what this review is supposed to be. Are they saying that's like a transition take foul? I can't hear what he said there.
Flagrant? What?
Yeah, that's absurd. I don't really know what that was.
This review is going to take longer than most of this quarter.
No, he has zero control of his body. Don't you understand that? Does he hit him in the face or something? I mean, yeah, I just don't see you.
I hope they just look at this once and be like, face?
Yes. All right, common foul. I can't even begin to think of what might have triggered that. But it'll be free throws for Jaylen Brown.
And the funny thing is, under my interpretation, how I would rule transition take fouls, it's also not one of those because I don't think it was intentional.
Yeah, I mean, he was trying to go for the ball and he just kind of tripped. So yeah, as noted in the comments, he also, Neesmith, undid all the good work that they had to get the 2-for-1, and now Boston will have it. Braun hitting the first free throw.
Though if there was any team in existence that I think could try to pull this shot within about 4 seconds, it would be the Pacers, but I don't think they will.
Yeah, a little harder without Halliburton on the floor to just bomb it. Yeah, Indiana, as Braun misses another free throw. Yeah, I'd be interested to know how many free throws they missed in this quarter, too. Yeah, I think it's looked better with Horford guarding Siakam, although they don't have Turner in the game right now. McConnell directs traffic. He wants to go at Hauser. McConnell wants to go across the face of the defense, and he gets it up on Hauser. He has got a lot of confidence that he can get that shot off on him. McConnell trying to bother Holiday, who's relatively imperturbable. Hauser says, "Oh, now that's a killer foul." I didn't see much there, honestly. Let me look at it again. I mean, he kind of leans forward into him. Yeah, I mean, he's also very wide. He's very wide there.
Yeah, there's no form on that. I mean, McConnell going down is what sells the call, but I'm fine with being more aggressive with illegal screens.
Yeah, I assume they're bringing Halliburton back in for this last possession. Here he comes, and Pritchard bottles him up for the foul to give with 3.4.
Like both of Hauser's hands are away from his body. His legs are outside the cone. Like that should not be.
Yeah, I mean you can't set a screen with your forearms either, like away from your body like that.
Yeah.
And McConnell did. I think he did actually get hit pretty hard. All right, they look to get it in with 3.4 now. Halliburton Can't get it off. Great defense there by Brown. Oh, the Halliburton! Unreal shot at the end of the quarter again. And after all that, the Pacers are only down by 1. What a shot!
And I mean, let me look up what that run was.
You cannot defend this any better. And he does obviously get it off the glass. What a ridiculous attempt. And great sub getting him back in the game, too.
So Drew Holiday made a layup to make it 79-92. So that was a 14-2 run for the Pacers to end the quarter in 3.5 minutes.
And all that's with Tatum on the bench, I believe, too. Yeah, for Tatum, this is something that it didn't hold true as much this year because their bench was so good. But largely, they've been like minus 10 net rating whenever he's been off the floor over the years. But you're seeing it again here. Even if his individual offense isn't incredibly pretty, he does provide them with a lot of stability. And he started the half 4 or 5 and 10 points in the first few minutes, and they clearly struggled a little bit, even though they did miss some open ones.
Unfortunately, I don't have the quarter splits yet. I'll let you know when they're available. It hasn't gone into the box score. But the Celtics, they did take 5 shots in the restricted area, only 3 non-restricted area 2s. And I think it's been a relatively low corner 3 game. The Indiana Pacers have only generated 2 corner 3s in the entire game. The Celtics 6. That's like a half that's like a quarter for the Mavericks against the Thunder.
Yeah, Indiana actually turning it over a fair amount with 13. It was the turnovers that led to their offense struggling, and as soon as they stopped doing that, it looked a lot better.
Well, and Albatross brought up, and I'm not picking on you deliberately, like Pritchard -15. A big part of that's because he's primarily on the floor when Jason Tatum is not. And so it is not supposed to be Peyton Pritchard, you run the show, you do everything. And we've seen that the Celtics don't have as much form and flow to their offense in those minutes. Also,
it hasn't really stood out to me that he's been particularly bad. Like Hauser's been beaten a couple of times by McConnell. That's not a very good matchup for Boston.
And it's similar, Miles Turner having the worst plus minus. It's because he's out there, starters versus starters, especially with that early run to begin the game. That's been some of the best stuff for the Pacers, for the Celtics against the Pacers. So naturally, you're going to see it. And then some of the mixed lineups are worse, and Miles Turner doesn't play in those. Would Denny Avdia help the Thunder? Yes, he would. Is he the right person for them to throw their chips in for? How much does it take to get him? Remain to be answered, but we'll preview Oklahoma City's offseason at some point relatively soon.
Who's the coach that totally changed their demeanor and look because of the stress of coaching? I mean, Ty Lue would probably be the one. I mean, he had to take a break from the team. He put on a bunch of weight. So that would probably be.
Isn't that when his hair changed color too?
Probably. I mean, that does happen to people as they get older, but
allegedly.
All right, so we're getting started here in the fourth. The Pacers have come back from down double digits multiple times now. Yeah, and Boston is now 15-21 at the line, and the Pacers have taken 2.
Yeah.
Pacers will get the first possession. Siakam and Toppin in the front court. Halliburton back on the bench after his heroics to end the third. Siakam across the lane. He's been in there forever. That's a 3-second violation. He just barely shot it, I would say. Usually a 3-second violation takes about 5 before it gets called. But Indiana takes the lead again. Horford trying to get the ball at the elbow. They'll run their play here. White, who's been pretty quiet, drives to the basket. Siakam goes over to help. White tried to draw the foul rather than just continuing on his pass to finish or make a pass. Yeah, McConnell, he loves that little step-up screen along the sideline because he can get some momentum going. Siakam getting into his office at the foul line again. Holiday's in his lap. That sets up Nembhard for three. Holiday on a late close, just in and out. Tipped around. McConnell steps inside. Here's Nembhard on the drive. Shepherd, huge corner three. Can't get it. That would have been a big shot there to start off the quarter for Indiana.
And I would have liked Boston to push that a little bit harder.
Now White into the lane. Cut off by Siakam, who then closes down Tatum nicely. Celtics didn't have the spacing. Tatum, tough fadeaway. He had White wide open up top, but he makes that to put Boston back in front. Ahead to Toppin. Nembhard was open in the corner. They didn't go that way. Now McConnell. Siakam, he wants to involve Pritchard in the pick and roll. Rejects the screen. Shepherd, pass fake, trying to keep it moving. He maybe had a layup. Late clock now. Toppin backing down on Pritchard. Goes into two guys. McConnell, can he get it off? No, sir. And there's an example of the limitations of McConnell, who just had an open corner three and did not want to take it.
How long do you wait until you put Halliburton back in here? I think for me, it'd be soon. Real soon.
Yeah. Yeah, he's gotten 28 minutes. They usually don't get him up that high into the high 30s, but yeah, probably. We're down to 10 here. Yeah, I would go pretty quickly here, especially with Tatum back in. McConnell trying to bother him. Tatum lost the handle, has to fire it off of 1 foot from three, just in and out. Shepherd got a tip, but Tatum was there to finish it. Beautiful step through, as neither Toppin nor Siakam was anywhere near the paint for that rebound. That's been an issue for Obi Toppin in his career. Not a good rebounder. McConnell. Now Nembhard. Yeah, these on-ball guys not able to do much. There's a lot of passing without an advantage being gained, and I think they're going to get Toppin for an offensive foul posting up on Pritchard. And yeah, I would come back with Halliburton here. They are going to bring in Turner.
And Nate, a straight prediction, TJ McConnell's going to draw at least one off-arm pushing foul on Jason Tatum in this series. Tatum does it constantly. McConnell will sell it.
Oh, 3-second violation. Offensive 3-second violation. Wow. That seemed unnecessary. Pick and roll. Floats up a weird pass to Horford. Shepherd on the closeout. Holiday cut off, but he can back down Shepherd. Shepherd trying to get strong. Holiday gets a good look. Yes. Yeah, they got to get Halliburton back in here. The Neesmith's at the table like this McConnell shit is just found money. There's Horford doing the Cornet contest, and somehow Shepherd snuck his way in.
Yeah, nice little second chance point there from Ben Shepherd. He's been okay.
Siakam trying to bother Tatum, who barely
that was
gets
close
to
a
time. They screen for Horford, who sets the screen for Tatum. Going downhill at Turner, fade away off the heel. White tried to sneak around from behind, didn't get it. McConnell on the push. Pritchard runs him down nicely. Now it's Siakam, though. And because Horford had to help out on that drive by McConnell, he wasn't up to Siakam, and Siakam hits it to bring it within one. Halliburton's at the table now. Turner, good pick and roll defense. Holiday getting past Shepherd. Turner tried to bother him from behind and couldn't. And they're going to keep going to that once Halliburton gets in, too. McConnell, he blew right past Pritchard, and Missoula's going to take time out here. Indiana is down by 1.
And they're down by 1 with Halliburton coming back in, only 8 minutes left in regulation. And this is a fun one. And in terms of the foul situation, still absolutely no one in foul trouble. Shepherd and Neesmith have 3, and that's the most anyone has. Boston does have 1 remaining timeout. They have a Ulioli, and according to the official box, the Pacers do not. They only have 2 remaining. Both teams have an available challenge. Boston has 1 successful one very early in the game, so they only have 1 left. But they do have that.
Yeah, catch up on some of the stats. Tatum, after that big third quarter, 26 points, 10 and 19 from the field. He's plus 16 on the evening in 33 minutes. And Holiday is now up to 22 points, 8 of 13, 4 of 8 from 3 with 6 assists and 3 steals. He's been fantastic. White's been quieter. He's only taken 8 shots. And Jaylen Brown has 19, only 13 points off the Celtic bench. And then for Indiana, McConnell has 12 on 6 of 9. And Toppin also has 13, even though I thought he's kind of struggled here in the second half. Turner with 20 on 8 of 11. And Halliburton has 19, Siakam 16.
So I have the third quarter stats right now.
Yeah.
The Celtics took 13 free throw attempts, made 8 of them, so that's 5 missed. 13 free throw attempts, 18 field goal attempts. So that's a pretty narrow disparity between those. And as much as we talked about Indiana's turnovers, they had 5. Boston scored 7 points off that. The Boston Celtics had 6, and Indiana had 9 points off that, including that late run that they had.
Bulldog says Boston's metrics are not good without Porzingis. So you consider they played last series. Don't they have like a 12.8 net rating for the playoffs? And that's despite both of their losses kind of being blowouts.
Plus 11.8, yes.
I mean, and I agree, watching it, it's not like inspiring, but it doesn't matter who you're playing. You're not going to win every game by 20.
And they did win a couple of the Heat games by 20. They weren't interesting at the end, but
those Heat games, they just completely blew them out in the last 3 games.
Yeah, actually, I'll do the net rating for the teams that are still alive. Boston plus 11.8, Minnesota plus 7.7, Indiana plus 6.4, Dallas plus 4.8.
You said Boston is 7.8?
11.8.
Oh, 11.8. Yeah, okay. So, I mean, that's an amazing net rating just going against the entire league. I still think, these are not great teams, but it still is at a playoff level. Like, I don't. If they had swept those games, you would be thinking, and had an 11.8 net rating, you'd be thinking that they did pretty well. Yeah, McConnell has really contributed to winning in these playoffs to a shocking degree. I think that Indiana has just put him in a system that works incredibly well for him, like we talked about in the first half with the 5-out spacing. That really, like, if you're playing him with another center, it gets too clunky. But I think with him as the only guy who's not a 3-point threat, it actually works pretty well.
And if you can time those minutes with other teams that don't really have as many offensive threats, then I guess with Jalen Smith, they could play 5-out spacing with the center, but they're able to make it work defensively too with Siakam.
So now they're actually putting Halliburton on White.
I agree with that.
Toppin is back in. He's guarding Jaylen Brown. I think the Celtics should go at that matchup. They do. And Halliburton actually got a hand on that. And they're sticking with McConnell here, interestingly, giving Siakam a rest.
And neither team has committed a foul so far in this quarter.
So McConnell rather than Nembhard. Holiday, late clock. Gets into TJ, missed it, but pops right back off the ground for his own rebound. Pacers' defensive rebounding has had some problems here. Halliburton moving without the ball. Now McConnell. Flare screen for Toppin. He should not be trying to put that on the floor. He never had the advantage, and he's going to lose it here. That was foolish. Like, that's just, if you don't have the advantage right away, move the ball there. He's been good attacking closeouts, but there wasn't really a closeout. The guy was right there. Nesmith into Tatum. No foul called. Tatum, he's trying to swipe the hand away and spin. That's been his big move. And what do we have here? Just a push on Nesmith?
I didn't see much there, but it is the reverse angle of what we want.
Yeah, I mean, he's got his back to goal here. He's trying to get the forearm into it. That's a horrendous call.
And that's a defensive foul. Why?
That is atrocious. Now Tatum, they just throw it over his head. White, usually a good entry passer. He tried to throw it early, but Tatum was double teamed down there. McConnell, Drew goes under on him. They switch it. Trying to set up Halliburton on that little handback action. Halliburton, jump pass. McConnell, he's going to fire it over the Cornet contest. Turner tips it out. Nice tip there. Halliburton
Boston didn't box out.
Nice job by Boston getting back solid after the rebound, though. Turner on the drive. Up to Toppin. Oh, what a play by White to knock it away. That was going to be a reverse dunk. That is massive right there. Now Brown is posting up. They get it to him against McConnell. He sneaks around from behind, but knocks it out of bounds. Got to do a better job of sealing there as Jaylen Brown. And White, he says that's his fault. I disagree on that one. Look at this play by White. Incredible that the guy coming back from guarding at the point of attack is going to get all the way to the baseline and make that play. Siakam back in now, as is Nembhard. Pacers have their starting five. Brown has Haliburton. Going to back around. Turn, fires, way short. Holiday has it. Horford, a huge three right wing is short. Rebounded by Turner. Haliburton can push it here with Holiday behind. He's got Horford on him. Gets into the lane. Wide open. Nesmith right corner three is missed as well.
And this push-off.
A loose ball foul.
But that was the gravity of Tyrese Haliburton. You saw the weak side defender shade towards him, concede an open Aaron Nesmith three instead of being a second defender on Haliburton.
Let's see if there's a foul. Yeah, Horford literally grabbed his hand. Yeah, that's a good catch by the referee. Now Turner drains a three. I'd love to tell you how that happened. Yeah, they could have just showed us one replay of that. We didn't need two. But Indiana has tied it at 104, and Turner has been devastating offensively. Screen away here for Tatum. Now he'll screen for Holiday. They go under on him. Tatum trying to post up Nembhard, who fronts him well. Here's Brown engaging Turner. Steps
Did
through
it again.
That's the third time he's done that move. Horford has the rebound. Horford trying to carve out space, and Turner reacted too slowly to that, but Horford is out of bounds. Man, that Brown step through has been nasty. This is the tipping point for that move this game. He's done it 3 times, and it's worked all 3 times. Now Haliburton off the Siakam screen, has him rolling. Horford able to stay low. Siakam hits it anyway. I would like to see Haliburton maybe take one more dribble there and force Horford to commit to him so he can't stay below Siakam, but Siakam is pretty good with that shot. Siakam guarding Brown. Back screen for White. Not open and taken away. Siakam, Haliburton can push it here. Oh, yes! What a pass that was. He got him with the jump in the air again. Brown turned his head. They got it. We saw the Knicks start to get attuned to this a little bit in the last series of knowing that, hey, when he jumps in the air, don't just look at him. But Siakam, great deflection. Haliburton, watch this. You see Brown? He reacts once Haliburton picks up his dribble, and it's wide open for Siakam's dunk, his second dunk of the game.
Haliburton up to 9 assists, only 1 turnover on the game. So he has not, the 16 turnovers, half of those are by the combination of Nesmith and Turner. And I mean, yeah, this is going to be a fun close.
Yeah, and as we go down the end here, other than when Indiana has thrown it away, I don't think that the Celtics have really shown the ability to stop Indiana. And they're up 4 as well. Boston ball. Boston only has 10 points in the quarter. And so is this advantage Indiana because their late game offense is pretty good?
Especially I worry. I mean, Boston doesn't need to do a lot of machinations to get to a good advantage matchup, but Indiana's offense has been really, really good. I mean, I'd say considering they're up 4, it's advantage Pacers. If it was neutral, I would say advantage Celtics.
Yeah, late game strategy for Boston. I mean, they've been trying to kind of run a lot of off-ball screening action. To me, I would be trying to play through Holiday guarded by Haliburton, although they now actually have switched him onto White. So you're probably want to go. I might even consider going like White pick and roll with Horford and see what happens out of that. And kind of like the same as I was saying with Conley and Gobert, force them to actually defend that. And then you can throw it to one of your other guys off a closeout.
and to get people in line. There is no foul situation. Neesmith has 4, but both teams have only committed 1 each. So so we don't have anything there. It'll be first fouls within the last 2 minutes, all that type of fun stuff. So I mean, this game has been delightfully low foul.
Absolutely. And we're basically like 2 hours in right now.
Yeah, because it's an ESPN game, so it starts at 15 after.
Yeah, and also these national TV games have super long.
By the way, this would actually maybe be my number 1 on the soapbox for broadcasting stuff, would be greater consistency and transparency about what time games are actually tipping. It's so much harder for fans than it should be. Baseball does that well. Football does that well.
Yeah, I mean, there's just too much crap before the game anyway.
Well, and I'm okay with if you say that it's tipping. If you want to do 15 minutes of stuff, say that the game starts at 15. I wouldn't be happy about it, but at least you could do that.
That was such a sick pass. He just completely fooled Jaylen Brown.
Jump passes are good again. Or sorry, good now. Sorry, I almost got Caitlin's thing wrong again.
So Boston could really use a bucket here, down 4. And they've got Haliburton now on White after Holiday completely destroyed him. Good pressure by the Pacers, not letting him get into their play until 10 remain on the clock. Pick and pop Horford. Oh, Haliburton got fooled there.
Mistake.
He was looking at the bench, but he over-rotated to Horford, and you'd much rather have Horford shoot that than White. Huge shot to cut it to 1. Haliburton rejecting the screen. Behind his back, Siakam going to try Horford one-on-one. Not really an advantage matchup. He should get it back to Haliburton. That's what they do. Haliburton on the drive. Bottled up by Holiday. They try the back door. Turner's going to have to get it off here. He's not going to. Excuse me, he did. Wow, that was quick. But he missed it.
And Tatum tried to sell the off-arm push-off there.
And Neesmith, he wants a review here. He says that it was off of Tatum. I'm not sure that I would go for it here.
You'd have to be really sure.
And so, yeah, where's Siakam to delay that when you need him? White off the screen. Haliburton gets through it. White picks up his dribble. Hand back to Tatum. Tatum open for 3 for the lead. I thought he could have done better there. Now Siakam in transition at Horford. Kicks out. They're going to get a wide open 3 here. Instead, it's a drive by Neesmith. And White fouled him, and it drops. What a finish.
That Aaron Neesmith, a little bit of redemption after a really rough third quarter. Big finish there.
I thought that was going to be another great Derek White play contesting him, and Neesmith managed to get the finish. Yeah, he comes down on top of him a little bit there with the arm.
And there's body contact too.
You know what's incredible? I realized that White committed a foul there. The reason why he's such a good rim protector, did you see that Neesmith is already in the air before White even starts to jump? He just really gets off the ground so fast. He got on top of him and he jumped second. And he just bailed him out with the foul. So a huge 3-point play. It's back to 4. Celtics taking a while to get into it. They got Horford wide open for 3. This is going to be there. And Al Horford with a second straight 3-pointer for the Celtics. I guess Tatum missed his last time. So 2 out of 3.
3 for 11 from Horford in this game from 3.
Nembhard getting into the pick and roll. Siakam has space. Fires from his office. And that's good.
Doesn't matter which garden it is. He can do it.
Celtics not looking like they're going to be stopping Indiana anytime soon here. They want to get Holiday matched up on Haliburton. Haliburton trying to front him. They go to the opposite side for some reason. Brown picks up his dribble in a weird area. He wants it back against Turner now. Brown trying to get around him. Picks up his dribble. He's going to have to fire a difficult shot over Turner. Way short.
The Celtics just kept the ball on the side with the Pacers' best defenders on it.
Try to throw it to Haliburton. At Haliburton with Holiday. I don't get it. Now Haliburton's still on the ball, guarded by Brown. He wants to bring up Horford. They pre-switch it to put White in the action. Nembhard is guarded by Horford. He steps back. Long 2 by Nembhard. And it's a 5-point game. Boston in trouble here. Under 2 minutes to go. White. They want to try to get Halliburton on Brown. That's where they are. Halliburton can't front at that time. Brown baseline, and he's running. How is that? Oh, I was going to say that was a massive foul by Turner coming down on him, and we'll see if maybe this could have some flagrant possibility. Brown has dealt with concussions in the past. I love this quick attack here. They get it into him quick before he can front. Pump fake, two guys just land on him. Yeah, it was actually Siakam, I think, who
got him with his hip.
Yeah, he got him with probably like his hip bone there. So no possible flagrant. Yeah, that does not feel good at all. And that's actually what made him lose the ball, too.
And that spin move was reminiscent of the one that Tatum got on Obi Toppin in the first half.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to get beat baseline there if you're Halliburton. But, yeah, that is a non-shooting foul in the end. What a killer. Now they're in the bonus, though. Halliburton, White rejects the screen, gets into the lane, finds Holiday underneath, and a beautiful quick finish by Holiday over Turner. So they've gone at Halliburton a couple of times now. That's going to continue to be the offense every time. Holiday trying to bother Tyrese, force him left, gets off the ball, hand back. Now Tyrese has space. Here's Siakam, another pick and pop too. Halliburton got pushed down. He's way behind the play. It's loose. Halliburton, no excuse for not getting up and getting back into that. And he does block one from behind. What luck that was that it was just right in front of him after he didn't get back.
You lulled him into a false sense of security, Nate.
Now a bucket could put him in difficulty. Here's Halliburton fading back. Almost banked it in. That was a little early, but this is good.
Calling this foul
on Siakam, and that will be free throws. Would you consider a challenge here?
I didn't see anything live.
I did not see much there. Maybe he's got the arm wrapped around him as Halliburton just luckily
so ludicrous.
Right place, right time after he just like stood on the baseline.
He didn't even react to it originally. And then he's like, oh, no. Okay, there we go.
I think they are going to challenge here with this timeout, I would imagine.
And okay.
So these challenges are nearly impossible to get an overturn on. Just these loose ball foul, grappling type of plays.
Though we haven't seen, I don't recall that we've seen this.
Yeah, so yeah, Brown does have his jersey first before any other foul takes place. So that can be part of the analysis. It's within the same play. I think Siakam also hit Brown's arm. Let's check this out here.
Siakam
First of all, this is an atrocious shot by Halliburton. He's going for the kill, but at least do it after 10 more seconds up 3.
Well, and also what he could have done here was a pump fake past the Nembhard and then cut.
Yeah,
and then he would have gotten a layup.
Yeah, there was a lot of options here. White is signaling for the travel. We're watching that over and over again. So I don't know why they're showing this over and over.
Is it maybe no, because it was a missed shot, so it's not about whether it was a 2 or a 3.
Right? Yeah, I mean it was the loose ball foul. But maybe that was just the beginning of the engagement. I don't know. Yeah, you got a prediction on how this ends? We still haven't gotten a great look at it. Let's watch again here. So watch it all the way through. Brown is kind of holding him off. Nothing there yet. Then Brown has his jersey there. So I would say Brown is fouling him before Siakam commits his foul.
I think this is going to be an unsuccessful challenge.
Yeah, I mean, just based on the fact that these never, ever get overturned.
Yeah, and so now the Pacers are down to 0. They're down to 0 available challenges and 1 available timeout. Boston still has their challenge, still has 2 timeouts left.
Brown gets the first one there. 2 big free throws. That just a killer over the backbreaker by Siakam, although I certainly sympathize with his position.
And remember, no spoilers in the chat, either place you are.
So Indiana is going to need to score again here, I think. And I don't think you have to worry too much about running the time down. Spain pick and roll. They switch Horford on Nembhard. Nembhard's going to try to get open from the foul line, and he makes that. He's got a couple of tough step backs on Horford. Now Boston has to get the 2-for-1 here. They have 2 timeouts. They're going to get into it quickly. And now they'll take the timeout. This is a good timeout here. They didn't have anything. Now, would Indiana go for a defensive sub here for Halliburton? Who do they even bring in? Is it McConnell?
They don't have that many. I mean, I don't think you're going to bring in Jarris Walker.
Yeah, so Nembhard.
You could bring Shepard in.
Yeah, I don't know how much better he is than Halliburton. He's better. A little bit, but then also.
But the other thing you do there is you slow Boston down, because their approach is going to be like, where's Halliburton? Go after Halliburton.
Yeah. Now you only have 1 timeout left. I don't know if you want to use it. So you do lose something by taking Halliburton off the floor, because then you have to call a timeout after this.
That's fair.
So
and you have a 3-point lead. So it's a circumstance where you have a little bit of a buffer here. I would not take Halliburton out if it were me.
Yeah, and for Boston, what are you going to run here? I think you want to have an option for a 3 or a quick 2. I mean, you can go that route because you have the 2-for-1 available. Let's see what Joe Mazzulla's got here. Trying to get Tatum open. Nesmith gets through the screen. Oh, almost got the steal, but what a foolish decision. And Tatum misses the 3. Oh, they barely escaped. Nembhard tried to fall down and draw the foul, and Halliburton just loses it, and Nesmith's going to be out of bounds. He just lost the ball and had scored. There was no pressure at all. And now they're going to come right back here. Boston cannot get a 2-for-1. They need to shoot a 3, though, right away here. I would actually call timeout there as Rick Carlisle, just to set things up. White. They're just going to try to get the attack here. Good no threes defense. And White, he misses the layup. Right back to Tatum. He goes for an impossible fadeaway. Turner has the rebound. And now they're going to have to foul. And they do. Wow. What a bad decision by Tatum to take a 2-point fadeaway. But, I mean, Boston, I guess this won't be free throws yet. They had a foul to give. But, I would advance the ball here, I think.
Use the timeout to advance the ball. Yeah, I think so too. Especially because it mitigates the worst case scenario.
Then you're up 2 possessions and you're good. I guess Boston has 1 timeout left, so not clear. I would say if you want to. Yeah, it looks like they are going to take it.
I think they are.
So White, he gets the drive here. How does he miss this? I guess Nesmith just kind of bothered him. Tatum, great job getting in, but he could throw the ball out for a 3, hopefully. Although I will say the Pacers were matched up pretty well.
Quickly, this is not a timeout. This is a blood rule stoppage.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I really liked the Indiana defensive approach there, though, and well done to execute that without a timeout. And Carlisle, he's telling Nembhard what the play is to get the ball in bounds here. They do have the timeout in their pocket. Yeah, as I think about it more, I would try to get it in here, but be liberal with calling the timeout. Halliburton trying to get open. They should take it here. Take it. Oh, that's way. Oh, and that's the
again. Why?
Boston ball.
Oh my God!
Why did he touch it? Had it hit out already? Did he hear the whistle? It was so foolish not to call the timeout there.
Oh my God.
What a comedy of errors for both teams down the stretch here. Nesmith goes for the steal, misses it. Tatum misses the wide open 3 to tie.
Unless you were 1,000% sure you had touched this ball last.
I mean, yeah, Siakam knew that he had touched it last. I mean, he was out of bounds when he touches it there. This is
no. I mean, before this, like to go for this ball.
I mean, I think he just knew it. Like he was 1,000% sure. Yeah, I mean I don't think Brown even makes contact with the ball.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a ridiculous sequence here. Then Haliburton just loses the ball with no pressure at all.
I mean,
Boston misses a wide open layup. Tatum takes a terrible shot.
Did Rick Carlisle have his hands over his head but not make the tee? Former Celtic Rick Carlisle.
And by the way, a couple of times Indiana has not fouled in this circumstance in these playoffs. Remember the Middleton game?
Yes.
In Game 3. I think they tried to maybe foul in the Brunson one in Game 3. We'll see what their approach is here. They do have Haliburton on the floor. They're going to their starters. Same for Boston. They have to get a 3 here. They have used their last timeout. Baseline out of bounds. Trying to get Tatum coming to the near side. Instead, it's weak side. Brown gets it off, and it's good.
Oh.
Jaylen Brown, they got to call timeout here. Don't inbound it. Whew. They almost inbounded the ball. They had their last timeout, but Jaylen Brown, an incredible shot over Pascal Siakam. A beautiful play. They ran dueling screens to the corner on either side, and a beautiful inbounds pass. Siakam was right there, didn't foul. Maybe should have and could have fouled. And we have a tie game. What a preposterous end.
The Indiana Pacers took the lead with 46 seconds to go. They had a 3-point lead. They have not taken a shot since then.
Or a free throw.
No. Yeah, they have not put the ball towards the basket.
And Siakam has to back off there and not commit the foul. You think he had a chance to commit the foul?
No, I don't think he did.
Yeah, I wouldn't say so either. That would be, yeah, he's going up there. I mean, that's as much pressure as you could possibly put on the guy. So now for Indiana, presumably they want to get it into Haliburton's hands and attack quickly. Boston probably going to be in switch everything mode. Haliburton will look to get to his right, probably step back right off the dribble. I would also watch out for getting it into Turner and then trying to get Haliburton above the ball so he can cut backwards. They get in, and Haliburton, he should just shoot that. Instead, he's going to try to attack. Down to 2. Haliburton can't get it off on Tatum. He finally fights it up, and it'll be overtime. He should have just taken that first logo 3. The same one that he hit at the end of the first half. And we have overtime.
Another 5 minutes of this delirious nonsense will be a lot of fun. Still, nobody's in foul trouble. Aaron Nesmith has 4. No one else has more than 3.
And they get him open. Nobody knew who was even guarding Haliburton. And then White finally gets out there. Tatum with a good switch. And he wasn't able to get it off the end. But they completely miscommunicated on the most dangerous guy on the floor. And Indiana just couldn't take advantage. Haliburton was so open, he should have just taken it.
The Celtics, wait, did the Celtics have a timeout left at that point?
No.
No. So, yeah, I mean, that's as good as you're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's no concern about running the time down there with 4 seconds left, taking a logo 3. They weren't going to bring it back on you. I still can't believe Haliburton just lost the ball at half court. That's in a last minute of utterly ridiculous plays. That is like just you. I can't even think of an analog to that of a guy just dribbling and losing the ball, because it's not even a mental mistake. It's just something that you've done like literally millions of times in his life. He's dribbled the ball, I'm sure, and to just lose it with no pressure. And then the fact that they didn't call the timeout there too on this, like, who was that inbound? Was that Nembhard?
It was Nembhard.
That was So bad. Because it's not like you haven't seen that situation before in these playoffs. Yeah, so watch the play they're going to run here. They run a little like twist screen for both Tatum and Brown on opposite sides of the floor. They had taken Turner out. They don't switch that, interestingly. I probably would have been switching that personally. I guess they just didn't want a miscommunication, possibly. But, and I think, like, that sort of play, too, like, it can kind of mess up your switch because you think, oh, we're switching, he's going inside. Now he's twisting back around him. Do we re-switch again or what? But, yeah, the Tony Romo place kick situation, I mean, but dribbling the ball is a lot easier than catching a snap from center. So, everybody's going to have to reset here, including us, to find 5 more minutes of basketball. Overtime is too long, by the way. We should be keeping the tension on here with the 2-minute or 3-minute overtime. Nembhard is guarding Holiday.
Or an Elam ending overtime.
White off of 2 screens. Neesmith steps out to disrupt. Now it's Tatum against Halliburton. 0-on-0. And Tatum gets caught along the baseline. Braun still has time here. And he missed that 3.
And are we actually get to see the Pacers run offense?
They get it back to Halliburton. They want to involve Horford in the pick and roll. They keep him open on that side so that there's no one to pre-switch onto it. Now Neesmith pulling up over White. And White contested him well that time. Now Braun coming up. Nobody guards him. And they're going to give up a 3 here eventually. Horford in the corner. He missed that. Nembhard can't get the box out. He didn't turn around. Holiday blows by him on the baseline into 2 guys. And we're going to get a jump ball here as Holiday was blocked.
Yes, this looks like it's
at least I think so. I thought the referee was signaling jump ball. Excuse me.
Yeah, they did call it jump ball.
Okay. Yeah, beautiful spin move. So who gets him here? That's just a travel. I don't think anyone ever hits that ball until he lands. That should have just been a travel. And what a terrible tip or jump ball, but somehow the Pacers get it. Nembhard just going to attack in transition, and he's going to be fouled. I think they'll call this on the pass off.
I think they will too. So that is the first foul for Boston in the overtime, but we're still not in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, they're going to say that's on Holiday. I couldn't see whether he hits the hand or not. But neither team has scored a minute into overtime. Halliburton getting to his left hand. Tatum switches onto him. Now they involve Horford in the pick and roll. They switch it. There's the 3 by Halliburton going left against the switch. It was not a very aggressive switch. Indiana back up 3. Boston's got him right where they want him. They'll never even get a shot up again. Halliburton got over the screen the first time. Oh, and then Neesmith just lost Tatum. Another missed open 3 by the Celtics. Indiana can go up 2 possessions here. Siakam tells him to go right. Here's Halliburton firing again. Off the heel. Neesmith gets a rebound, but he lost it. And Holiday got hit in the face. This will be a non-shooting foul.
But that is Neesmith's 5th.
That was an incredible rebound, but then Holiday timed him out when he landed to take it away from him. Look at this rebound. He jumps right over Tatum. And maybe it was actually Tatum who knocked it away.
Tatum who tipped it out.
Yeah. They want to get Halliburton switched on to Braun. They do. Double team. No. Siakam has to go back. Braun getting underneath and scores. And Turner, I think, has to be more aggressive helping there. With Horford above the break, Nembhard coming over is not going to be able to disrupt him at all. 1-point game. Nembhard getting Halliburton a break. Gets to the foul line. Now it's Siakam. Siakam backing down to create more space for the pass out. Nembhard on the drive against the closeout, tried to draw the foul, no call. Now it's Tatum. That's got to be a transition foul. They don't call it, and it's blocked from behind by Nesmith, but Horford comes back.
I think they're calling a foul before the putback here.
Nesmith?
Yes.
So that'll be 6 on Nesmith.
And so who do you bring in here?
I love the non-call there. That's an obvious transition take foul that they don't give him. And then the foul takes place. I think they just had wanted to just give him the advantage. It didn't actually impede him. And yeah, obvious got him on the right arm there. So that'll do it for Nesmith. He knew it. They bring in McConnell here rather than Shepherd.
I don't love it.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, it does give a fresh guy who's going to be a different strategic challenge, but also Halliburton has been so good. And there's the lead for the Celtics. Nembhard tried to draw the foul, was not great there. Here's TJ going up. He's stopped by White and will stay here, though. White has been massive on some of these plays, defending around the rim. What a game this has been. Siakam coming to the corner. Tatum is switched on to him. Now it's going to be Halliburton screening for him. He rejects it. Still plenty of time here. Siakam backing down on Tatum. Gets it out to Halliburton. Here's the screen. Halliburton jump pass. Releases Siakam. Great help by White to come over.
You know why Derek White got that? He was 1.5 miles off TJ McConnell.
Yeah.
He was just standing in the paint. That actually might have been a 3-second call on him.
Great point there. Now Tatum.
Oh, God!
What a terrible pass. Halliburton.
He got him!
By White, but
he fouled.
Been called.
Oh, almost turnabout has been fair play. Oh, that would have been so funny for like the most random shot block to happen twice.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a terrible pass. Like, just get some separation from the screen. And then White, just gets him across the arm. Pretty obvious foul in the end. He was pretty close to blocking it, but then he came across both his arms, and Halliburton, making a rare visit to the line, ties it. He's got 2 more to come. Halliburton has 1 more now as Indiana's back in front. Under 2 minutes left.
And I mean, Boston's offensive process has not been, and execution has not been good in the fourth quarter and overtime.
Yeah, I like the ball in White's hands here. Brown trying to get at the elbow. Instead, they go to Tatum. Back screen for White. Trying to get Halliburton onto Brown. They switch off the ball, and that was beautiful work there. They saved that by Halliburton switches Turner onto the roll man Brown, and that's why Turner's there to disrupt it. Great defensive communication by Indiana, and now 8 to shoot for Boston.
Those plays are often off the offensive player, but Indiana does not have a challenge left.
Tatum going to try to create here on Nembhard, and he beats him easily, but blew the layup again. Tipped around. White has it, throws it up in the air. He's going to get to the corner. Turner closed it down. Foul. No non-shooting foul on the ground.
But that should be first foul in the last 2 minutes. So the Celtics will be shooting from here, but not on that.
Some of these missed layups by the Celtics are just mind-boggling. 14 to shoot here. Horford, back screen Tatum. Now White pops out. They want to post Tatum. Nembhard working hard to front him. They get it to him. But the low man is McConnell. And see that right there. Turner is way up at the foul line. And that's the difference between the Indiana defensive approach and Boston. Boston always has that guy low. And so, like, McConnell's the guy coming over here. If you're going to front, you can't have McConnell as the low guy when they throw it over the top. That's not going to work. And especially he's got to get there earlier, too.
And if you're going to foul, I know that McConnell was trying it. He's just not strong enough. If you're going to foul.
Absolutely. And I mean, it would be a tie game had he not done that. Holiday is now on Halliburton. White is on McConnell. Let's keep an eye on him helping. Yeah, White's just hanging out in the lane. And Halliburton got bothered, and he's just out of bounds. Great pressure by Holiday. That spot on the floor has been Halliburton's kryptonite, forcing him left. Holiday just gets into him. He's not as comfortable dribbling left-handed. Just lost it. Just had to eat it on the sideline. Boston can go up now by 2 by 3 or even 4. Tatum sets the screen for White. Halliburton's on his back now. White into the lane. He has Tatum wide open. Tatum gets past one man, shoots the 3, and drains it. They go after Halliburton, and now Indiana is great difficulty. Good timeout here by Rick Carlisle with 42.8 left. They have to get a 2-for-1, down 2 possessions, but Tatum finally cashes out that 3.
And as has been the case throughout this, I think that having TJ McConnell on the floor as the sub for Nesmith was a big tactical mistake by Rick Carlisle. And he obviously will be out here, but that's a different story.
Yeah, and again, Halliburton is behind White. Nembhard comes over. I mean, their problem is, like, look where Miles Turner is standing. Why is he 20 feet from the basket? Like as Horford hit so many threes that you're like, and they've been putting, the other thing they've been doing is putting Horford on the open side, right? So Turner is like, well, there's no one to rotate to him. I got to stick to him. But like Turner is just hasn't made a single play in the paint in this overtime. And that just is, they did such a great job of making Horford beat them before.
And it's not like you have residual pain because Horford's been drilling you for threes. Al Horford is 3 for 12 in this game on 3-pointers.
Yeah.
By the way, 12 of the 45 threes that Boston has attempted in this game.
But yeah, I mean, certainly that 5-out spacing is tough to deal with. I don't mean to make light of it. I would also have McConnell out here and go with Shepherd to space the floor. They're not doing that, though. Now Siakam, they got to get the 2-for-1 here. Siakam tries to get in on Braun. Spins, take it away! Braun with a beautiful play. He had him played for the spin move. That's his signature. Now Tatum, Horford gets it into White's capable hands, and a foul takes place up top.
Actually, Boston called a timeout there. No foul.
Oh, okay.
I don't exactly know. Maybe it was they were worried about getting trapped on the.
I think when Braun gets trapped there, maybe they call it. But look at this. Braun, this is an incredible play. He just knows that he's going to spin back.
That reminds me of a story years ago. I don't know that I've ever told this story. I was back in the early days when I was covering the Warriors. Chris Paul got a huge steal on Monte Ellis to win a game. This was back when the Warriors were like one of the worst teams in the league. I asked Chris Paul kind of how that happened. And he's like, well, I watch a lot of Warriors on League Pass, and Monte Ellis always holds the ball in this position. And he exactly mimed Monte Ellis' spin move. And he's like, so I just put my hand there. And so it was always one of my favorite stories because Chris Paul basically was such a League Pass nerd that he was watching one of the worst teams in the league and knew Monte Ellis' spin move. That's pretty much what Jaylen Brown just did.
Well, and I'm glad I get to be the one to point this out this time, even though it was Brown, his own man, who made the play. TJ McConnell just standing on the baseline.
Yep.
Like if that's like if you're gonna put him in the game right now, fine, give him the ball. Like don't have him stand in the fucking dunker spot.
Lou Dort style.
Exactly.
Has this been an unfair whistle? Overall, no. I would say that the Pacers haven't done too much to generate free throws. Like
I think there's only been a couple of bad calls in this game. They get it in. Holiday trapped on the side. He throws it off of Halliburton, and they'll have to re-inbound it again here. 1 timeout remaining for the Celtics. And Indiana is going to be in big trouble unless they can get a turnover here. They get it to Holiday. Backdoor. White. He'll lay it in, and that surely is going to do it here.
Indy should have called their timeout. Well, I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter at this point. Oh, is he going to go for a 2? Are you kidding me? You're down 6 with the shot clock off, and they take like an impossible fading 2-pointer? Shoot a 3! And now they foul Holiday in the backcourt. But it's so asinine. Like, what did you get yourself with that too?
What a blown opportunity for the Indiana Pacers. And yes, in the early part of this, it didn't seem like it was going to be close, but they should have won this game. And now they won't.
Yeah, I mean, just mental errors all over the place. Yeah, you want to go for the three there because they can't just foul you. And Holiday makes the first one. Boston has plenty of good free throw shooters out there.
And this is also a benefit for Boston of not only not needing defensive replacements, but also having capable free throw shooters in their defensive lineups. They don't have to do any of the strategic work here. They just play their best guys.
Back
and they're
up
still
to
not
6.
calling the timeout?
Are they going for another 2 here? Of course they are.
Jesus.
So that's interesting. They intentionally fouled there to prevent them from shooting a 3.
I don't know that you need to do that when TJ McConnell is on the ball going downhill, but I'm interested.
The idea being that the only way we lose is if they make a 3. Don't worry, they weren't going to shoot a 3.
Maybe Boston's just trying to up Indiana's free throws, so to ease the narrative after this game.
Yeah. Now, I would actually intentionally miss this.
I would too.
Especially if they're not expecting to try to just kick it out for a 3. McConnell missed that one, tipped up and over the backboard, but a loose ball foul has been called on Tatum. Yeah, Tatum just wrapped his arm around the back of Toppin.
This game needs a little bit more nonsense. Let's get there.
So Toppin now can shoot a couple.
And you intentionally missed the second one of these too.
I mean, seeing the way they just tried to rebound, sure. So is that Boston's last timeout?
Yes. That's risky.
Oh, they're going to challenge. Oh, that's an atrocious. Just has no chance. No chance. He's got his arm all over his back and is grabbing him. Yeah, this has zero chance. And I think it to me, it's much more important to have a remaining timeout in case you can't get it in bounds. This is really weird. Watch his right arm. Yeah, he's completely locked up. Of course, it's a loose ball foul.
I hope that Tony Brothers uses the language of like the review confirms the call, or like the
Oh, and I'm sorry. Tatum also had his left arm wrapped around his arm too. He's got it with both arms. Look at this. This is one of the worst challenges I've ever seen in my life. When you consider the type of challenge that never gets overturned anyway, a loose ball foul. We saw that earlier. Man, that I don't recall seeing a challenge fired into the sun any harder than that before.
And it isn't a circumstance where like screw it, like there's nothing else you could potentially use that timeout for later on.
Yeah.
Like every once in a while, you like for example, the challenge that Daignault had at the end of Game 6. Like you had to do that challenge because the upside was there. This was not necessary like that.
So now, I mean, it doesn't look like they're thinking of an intentional miss with no rebounders in as Toppin hits the first. But they can get it within 3, and hey, like your heart's still beating here. They're out of timeouts. You can pressure up, try to deny it in bounds. Maybe you force a turnover. You've got maybe a little bit of time here with your own timeout that you can trap before you have to foul. And hey, maybe by some miracle they miss them both. Toppin does his part. 3-point game. Everyone backs off. They're going to try to come to the ball hard here. Nembhard is going to come off the first pass. He can't do that. Now he's trapped. Oh, great pass by Holiday. Tatum up court, and they do foul him at midcourt. That was actually a pretty good press breaker there by Boston.
Yeah.
Because I thought that Holiday was really stuck, and he threw a great pass.
And the run by Tatum there, kind of going into space. They didn't bring extra defenders to convolute things. I thought that the pass from White to Tatum was the Drew part was riskier, but the other part worked out well.
Yeah, because Halliburton was trying to steal that pass back to the inbounder, and Holiday saw him and went another way. So big free throw there for Tatum. Pushes it back to 4. Turner comes in. They're going to call timeout here, I would imagine. This has been, after what was a very quick game, it's been an interminable last 6 minutes of action here.
And the Pacers still aren't calling their timeout?
Now they throw it ahead, get it to Halliburton. He's open. Oh, just in and out. Saved by Braun, and that should do it. The Celtics escape quite narrowly. We'll talk about it more on Dunked On, but what a comedy of errors for the Pacers in the last minute of the game to blow this one, and the Celtics barely take game 1. We'll be back tomorrow for game 1 of the West Finals. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone.